What was that?
What?
It sounded like a shot.
It can't have been. Probably a car backfiring.
But there aren't any cars, Miss Leeming.
No.
And it came from the house. Come on, quickly.
I'm coming.
Recognize it?
I think so. It must be mine. Unless, that is, Sir Ronald owned one of the same make.
I'll take this gun to forensic, Sergeant. Sir?
He took it from me when I first came here 5 days ago. He promised to let me have it back when I collected my pay.
Your pay?
I'm a private investigator, Inspector. He retained my services. Detective Sergeant Maskell knows all about it. I went to see him.
I see. Were you a friend of Sir Ronald Callender's?
I'd never met him, or Miss Leeming either, till he sent for me last week.
You look tired, Miss Gray. It's time you were getting home. One of my men will drive you. I'd like a written statement from you tomorrow. Could you come to the station after breakfast?
Of course.
You'll be around for a few days, I hope.
If Major Markland lets me stay on in the cottage.
Because there's an inquest. You'll be wanted for the inquest.
3 weeks ago, sir, Miss Leeming called at my office in London. She worked for Sir Ronald Callender. Of course I knew the name. As a champion of the environment, he was rather a hero of mine. But it wasn't me, actually, she'd come to see. It was my partner, Bernie Pride.
So, how did you become involved, Miss Gray?
My partner had died a few days before. I'd taken over the agency.
I see.
When I told Miss Leeming, she phoned Sir Ronald. Then she said he wanted to talk to me before offering me a job. It meant travelling to Cambridge.
And you went?
Yes, sir. We were met off the train by Sir Ronald's assistant.
Was that Mr. Lunn?
Yes, sir. But I didn't learn his name till later.
And when you arrived at Sir Ronald's house?
We spoke for a little. He seemed satisfied. He commissioned me to look into the matter that concerned him.
Which was?
18 days ago, Miss Gray, my son hanged himself. I want you to find out why. Can you do that?
I should like to try, Sir Ronald.
Obviously, you need some basic information about Mark. Miss Leeming here will type it out for you. Read it through, and tell us what else you want to know.
I'd prefer you to tell me yourself, please.
Very well. My son, Mark, was 21 on the 25th of April this year. He was in his final year at Cambridge, my old college, actually, reading history. 5 weeks ago, without any sort of warning, he left the university. Simply walked out.
Where did he go?
He took a job as a gardener. Worked for a Major Markland in a house called Summer Trees outside Duxford.
Did he say why?
Mark never explained why he did what he did.
And then?
18 days later, he was found by Major Markland's sister hanging by the neck from a strap knotted to a hook in the sitting-room ceiling. The verdict at the inquest was that he took his life while the balance of his mind was disturbed. I knew little of my son's mind, but I reject that comfortable euphemism. He was a rational person. He had a reason for his action. I want to know what it was.
Oh, this lust always to know. It's only prying. If he'd wanted us to know, he'd have told us.
Eliza, I'm simply not prepared to go on in this uncertainty. My son is dead. My son. If I'm in some way responsible, I prefer to know. If anyone else is responsible, I want to know that, too.
Did he leave a note?
He left a note, but not an explanation. It was found in his typewriter.
Yes?
Down the winding cavern we groped our tedious way, till a void, boundless as the nether sky, appeared beneath us, and we held by the roots of trees, and hung over this immensity. But I said, if you please, we will commit ourselves to this void, and see whether Providence is here also.
You claim to be a detective, Miss Gray. What do you deduce from that?
That your son read William Blake. Isn't it a passage from The Marriage of Heaven and Hell?
So I am told.
What else can you tell me?
How do you mean, exactly?
The ordinary things. Was your son in good health? Did he seem worried about his work or his love affairs, about money?
Mark would have inherited quite a fortune from his maternal grandmother if he'd lived to 25. Meanwhile, I gave him an allowance, generous by any measure. On the day he left college, he transferred the balance back to my account. For the last 2 weeks of his life, I presume he lived on his earnings. As for his love affairs, well, he didn't confide in me, but if he had any, I would expect them to be heterosexual.
Now, Miss Gray, will you tell the court what happened on the night Sir Ronald Callender died?
I decided I didn't want to go on with the case. I'd found out nothing useful, and I'd come to think that what I was doing was wrong, that I was taking money for prying into Mark Callender's private life. I decided to tell Sir Ronald that I wanted to finish the case. I drove to Garforth House and got there about 10:30. I knew it was late, but I was anxious to get back to London the next morning. Miss Leeming showed me straight into the study.
And how was Sir Ronald?
He seemed tired and distracted. I tried to explain why I wanted to give up the case, but I'm not sure he was taking it all in. I said I only proposed to charge expenses, but that I'd like my gun back. He brushed that aside and said, "Tomorrow morning, Miss Gray, tomorrow morning."
And then you left?
Yes, sir. Miss Leeming came with me to the car. I was about to get in and drive away when we heard the shot.
You didn't see the gun while you were in the study?
No, sir.
Now, Miss Gray, will you please explain to the court how Sir Ronald came to have your gun?
The gun belonged to my partner, Mr. Pride. It was very precious to him. When he killed himself, I knew he meant me to have it. That was why he didn't shoot himself. It would have been quicker and easier than cutting his wrists.
That must all have been very distressing for you. Were you there when he killed himself?
No, but I found the body. Good morning. Lovely day, Miss Sparshot.
Oh, good morning. I've been wondering when you'd turn up. I'm a bit worried about Mr. Pride. I think he's in the inner office, but he's very quiet, and the door's locked.
Let me see. Bernie? Why didn't you do something?
Do what, Miss Gray? I knocked at the door, I called out. What else can I do? I've no authority here. I'm only the temporary typist. After all, he's entitled to use his own office, I suppose. Besides, I'm not even sure he's there.
He must be. The door's locked and his hat's here. I've got my own keys somewhere in this bag.
Oh, he's left a note on your desk.
A note? Why didn't you say so?
I'm sorry, partner. They've told me it's cancer, and I'm taking the easy way out. I've made my will, and it's with my solicitor. You'll find his name on the desk. I've left the business to you. Everything. Including all the equipment. Good luck, and thank you. Bernie. P.S. If you find me alive, for God's sake wait before calling help. I rely on you for this, partner.
Did you know the gun wasn't licensed?
No, sir, but I think I suspected it. I brought it to Cambridge with me mainly because I didn't want to leave it in the office. I meant to check up on the licence as soon as I got back. Of course I didn't expect ever to use the gun. It's just that this was my first case and Bernie had left it to me and I felt happier having it with me.
I see. And how did Sir Ronald come to take it from you?
It was on my first visit to Garforth House when Sir Ronald was showing me his son's bedroom. He was asking me about taking over the agency. He said, wasn't it a difficult and rather frightening job for a woman? I told him I wasn't frightened, but that I had Bernie's gun. It was then he made me hand it over. He said he didn't propose engaging someone who might be a danger to other people or herself. He took the gun and the ammunition.
And what did he do with it?
He took it out of the room with him. He didn't tell me where. He was only away for a moment. Then we went downstairs together.
And the next time you saw the gun?
It was on the floor, close to Sir Ronald's hand, when Miss Leeming and I found his body.
I pointed out that it was late, but Miss Gray said she wanted to give up the case and get back to town. I showed her into the study, and she was with Sir Ronald for about 2 minutes. No more. I walked back to the car with her.
Did you speak at all?
Miss Gray said that Sir Ronald had asked her to call back in the morning for her pay.
Miss Gray has testified that Sir Ronald seemed out of sorts, unable to concentrate. Can you account for that?
I think so. About a quarter of an hour before she arrived, Sir Ronald had received a telephone call from the police to say that his lab assistant, Christopher Lunn, had been killed in a road accident. Sir Ronald was very distressed at the news.
I see. Did you mention the accident to Miss Gray when she arrived?
It didn't occur to me.
Nor afterwards?
No. We went straight out to the car. She was just about to get in when we heard the shot. At first I thought it was a car backfiring. Then Miss Gray realised it had come from the house, and we both ran back in. Sir Ronald was lying across his desk. The gun had fallen from his hand.
You worked closely with Sir Ronald. Had he ever given you any idea that he might be contemplating suicide?
Never. But Sir Ronald wasn't a man to show much emotion. All the same, he hadn't been himself since his son's death. Recently he'd been working very hard. I thought he was trying to blot out the tragedy. And then that night he took the news of Mr. Lunn's death rather badly. He'd been very fond of Mr. Lunn.
Miss Leeming? I thought it was. I saw you from the back.
Miss Gray, have you seen anything more magnificent than this great vault of a roof? I come to King's College Chapel far too seldom.
It's my first time. It's the carving I love, those Tudor roses.
Now the inquest is over, do you think you'll make a success of it?
What?
The detective agency. Do you think you'll be able to cope?
Exactly the question I was asking myself the first time we met, Miss Leeming. That afternoon. I'd just come back from Bernie Pride's funeral.
I know. How did you come to be working for him?
After school, I went to live with my father on the continent. He died in Rome last year. So I came home and taught myself shorthand and typing. A secretarial agency sent me to Bernie. He let me help him on a few cases and then decided to train me. I agreed to stay on permanently. Your appearance that afternoon was something of a godsend.
If you're Cordelia Gray, then you're 18 minutes late. This notice says you'll be back at 4 o'clock.
I know. I'm sorry. Won't you come in?
I was hoping to see Mr. Pride. Will he be long?
I'm sorry. I've just come back from his cremation.
I see.
I mean, Bernie's dead.
Obviously. Well, I seem to have had a wasted journey.
Oh, please don't go before talking to me. I was Mr. Pride's partner, and I own the business now. I'm sure I could help you.
No one can help. However, that's beside the point. There's something my employer particularly wants to know, some information he requires. And he'd decided, on recommendation, that Mr. Pride was the person to get it for him. I don't know if he'd consider you an effective substitute. Is there a private phone?
Of course. In here, please.
I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself. My name is Elizabeth Leeming. I work for Sir Ronald Callender.
The conservationist?
I shouldn't call him that to his face. He prefers to be known as a microbiologist, which is what he is. Please, excuse me.
Miss Leeming tells me you're all that remains of Mr. Pride's detective agency. I've been expecting a burly ex-policeman, and I get you.
I'm sorry.
I'm not complaining. You might do very well. So, do you want the job?
I'm here because your secretary said you might still wish to employ me. If she's wrong, I'll get back to London.
I'm offering you the job, aren't I? Worry about your own responsibilities, Miss Gray, and I'll look after mine.
We knew nothing about Mark. Nothing. So why wait until he's dead to start finding out?
Precisely because he is dead.
Can you tell me anything about his friends?
They didn't come here often. 2 did turn up to the inquest and the funeral. Hugo Tilling from his own college and Tilling's sister. She's a postgraduate student at New Hall. Do you remember her name, Eliza?
Sophie. Sophie Tilling. Mark brought her to dinner once or twice.
Could you tell me something of your son's early life? Where was he educated?
He went to pre-prep school when he was 5, and then to a prep school. I couldn't have a child here running around unsupervised in and out of the laboratory. Later, at his mother's wish, she died when Mark was 9 months old, he went to a Woodard Foundation. My wife was what I believe is called a high Anglican, and she wanted the boy educated in that tradition. Is all this relevant?
Anything could be. I have to try to get to know him, you see. It'd be helpful if Miss Leeming could type out what you told me and add the name of his college and his tutor. And please, may I have a note signed by you authorising me to make inquiries?
I'll give that to you now.
Oh, Hello?
Good morning. You must be about the church jumble.
No, not the jumble. I'm from Sir Ronald Callender. It's about his son.
Oh. Then I expect you've called for his things. We wondered when Sir Ronald was going to send for them. They're all still at the cottage. We haven't been down there since Mark died. We called him Mark, you know. Well, he never told us who he was, which was rather naughty of him.
It isn't about Mark's things. I want to talk about Mark himself. Sir Ronald has asked me to try and find out why his son killed himself. My name is Cordelia Gray.
We haven't met before, have we? I don't think I know Cordelia Gray. I'm Mrs. Markland. Perhaps you'd better come into the drawing room and talk to my husband and sister-in-law.
Morning, Miss Gray. I'm Major Markland. Oh, and this is my sister, Eleanor.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Yes, right. Now, what can we do for you?
This note from Sir Ronald Callender, I think that explains.
I see. Yes, thank you.
Sir Ronald was very distressed on your account. I mean, it was awful for you that it should happen on your property when you'd been so kind to Mark. His father hopes you won't mind talking about it. It's just that he wants to know what made his son kill himself.
And he sent you?
Sir Ronald thinks it must have been something to do with Mark's life at university. He left college suddenly, as you may know, and his father was never told why. Sir Ronald thought I might be better at talking to Mark's friends than, well, the more usual type of private investigator. He couldn't ask the police. This sort of inquiry isn't their job.
I should have thought it was precisely their job. That is, if Sir Ronald thinks there is something odd about his son's death.
Oh, no, I don't think there's any suggestion of that. He's quite satisfied with the verdict. It's just that he badly wants to know what made him do it.
The boy was a dropout. He dropped out of university, apparently dropped out of his family obligations. Finally, he dropped out of life. Literally.
Oh, Eleanor, is that quite fair? He worked really well here. I liked Mark. I don't think he was a
I don't deny he earned his money. That doesn't alter the fact that he was neither bred nor educated to be a jobbing gardener. He was, therefore, a dropout. I don't know the reason, and I've no interest in discovering it.
How did you come to employ him?
He saw my advertisement in the Cambridge Evening News. He turned up one evening on his bicycle. Oh, it must have been about 5 weeks ago. Tuesday, I think.
It was Tuesday, May the 9th.
And I've just said it was Tuesday. Well, anyway, he said he decided to leave university and take a job. He admitted that he didn't know much about gardening, but said he was willing to learn. His inexperience didn't worry me. We wanted him mostly for the lawns and the vegetables. He never touched the flower garden, no. My wife and I, we see to that ourselves. Anyway, I quite liked the look of the boy, and I thought I'd give him a chance.
You took him because he was the only applicant prepared to work for the miserable pittance you were offering.
I paid him what he was worth. If more employers were prepared to do that, this country wouldn't be plagued with inflation.
Didn't you think it odd, his turning up like that?
Of course I did. Damn odd. I thought at first he'd been sent down. Drink, drugs, revolution, you know, the sort of thing they get up to now. But I asked the name of his tutor as a referee and rang him up. A fellow called Horsefall. And he gave him a clean bill of health.
Did he say why Mark had left college?
I didn't ask. Frankly, it wasn't my business. And I certainly had no complaint about the lad while he was here. I speak as I find.
When did he move into the cottage?
Straight away. Mind you, that wasn't our idea. We didn't advertise the job as residential. But he'd obviously seen the cottage and taken a fancy to it. He asked if we'd mind him camping out there. Said it'd be much easier than cycling in from Cambridge every day. I can't say that I was too taken with the idea. The cottage needs a lot doing to it. But he seemed keen, so we agreed.
He was very keen on the cottage, very keen. I pointed out that there was no gas or electricity, but he said that wouldn't worry him. He'd buy a Primus stove and manage with lamps. There's water laid on, of course. He seemed to settle in very happily. We never actually visited him, but as far as I could see, he was looking after himself perfectly well. I liked the boy. He was always working hard when I was in the garden.
I wonder if I might have a look at the cottage.
I'll come with you now.
The grounds at Summertrees were spacious. After the formal rose garden, we came to the kitchen garden, with evidence of Mark's work in the weeded rows of lettuce and cabbages, the patches of dug earth. Finally, we passed through a gate into a small orchard of old and unpruned apple trees. At the furthest end was a wicket gate, and beyond it a thick bramble hedge, dark and impenetrable. We had to bend low to avoid catching our hair on its tangled tentacles. Once free of this barrier, I lifted my head and blinked in the bright sunshine. It was delightful. In the short time he had lived there, Mark Callender had created a little oasis of order and beauty out of chaos and neglect. Old flower beds had been discovered. The stone path had been scraped free of moss. A minute square of lawn to the right of the cottage had been cut and weeded. On the other side, a patch about 12 feet square had been partly dug. The fork was still in the earth, driven deep about 2 feet from the end of the row. We stood together, contemplating the dug earth. Then we moved to the back door and went in. In the middle of the room stood a wooden-top table, its surface scarred with much scrubbing. 2 immense beams, blackened with age, ran across the ceiling. In the middle of one was fixed a steel hook.
I was the one who found him, you know. He hadn't come to the kitchen for the day's orders, so after breakfast I walked down here to see if he'd overslept.
Was the door locked?
No. I knocked, but there was no reply, so I pushed it open. He was hanging from that hook, with a leather belt round his neck. He was wearing his blue cotton trousers, the ones he usually worked in, and his feet were bare. That chair was lying on its side on the floor. I touched his chest. He was quite cold. He was obviously dead, and I thought it better to wait till the police arrived. But I did pick up the chair so that it supported his feet. Quite irrational, I know, but I couldn't bear to see him hanging there without relieving the pressure.
I think it was very natural. Did you notice anything else about him? About the room?
There was a half-empty mug of coffee on the table and a great deal of ash in the grate. It looked as if he'd been burning papers. His typewriter was where you see it now. The suicide note was in it. I read it. Then I went back to the house and told them what had happened. Then I rang the police.
Please tell me about him.
What is there to tell? He worked from 8:30 to 6, with an hour for lunch and half an hour for tea. In the evenings, once the light had faded, he used to read or type at that table. I could see his head against the lamplight.
I thought Major Markland said you didn't visit the cottage.
They don't. It holds certain embarrassing memories for them. I do. My fiancé and I used to spend a great deal of time here before the war when he was at Cambridge. He was killed in 1937, fighting the fascists in Spain.
I'm sorry.
Mark's girlfriend visited him once, you know. At least I suppose she was his girlfriend. It was 3 days after he started work.
What was she like?
Oh, beautiful. Very fair, with a face like a Botticelli angel. Smooth, oval. Unintelligent. She was foreign, French, I think. She was also rich.
How could you tell that, Miss Markland?
Because she spoke with a foreign accent, because she arrived driving a white Renault, and because her clothes weren't cheap, and because she walked up to the front door and announced with that confident arrogance one associates with the rich that she wanted to see him.
And did he see her?
He was working in the orchard at the time. I took her down to him. He greeted her calmly enough and took her back to the cottage to wait until he'd stopped work. He didn't introduce her, and I went back to the house before he had a chance to. I didn't see her again. Miss Gray, am I right? Are you thinking of living here for a time?
Will they mind? I didn't like to ask in case they said no.
They won't care.
But do you mind?
No, I don't mind. And I shan't worry you. You've taken this job for money, of course. Keep it that way. It's unwise to become personally involved with another human being. When that human being is dead, it can be dangerous as well as unwise.
I was glad to see her go. I was impatient to examine the cottage, outside and in. This was where it had happened. This was where my job really began. I walked round the outside. The back was very tidy. A clean outside privy, a garden shed with tools methodically arranged. In contrast, the front was a wilderness. It was amid this profusion of weeds that I made my first odd discovery. It was the crumpled page from a magazine, and one glance told me what sort of magazine. The photograph showed a female, nude except for boots, her back to the camera, bending forwards. The date at the top of the page was very recent. The magazine, or at least the picture, must have been brought to the cottage while Mark was there. On the west side of the cottage I found something else. Hidden behind a clump of elder bushes was a small well, about 4 feet in diameter, closely fitted with a domed lid. The cover was padlocked to the wooden rim. I gave it an experimental tug or two, but it held very firm. Inside the cottage I was intrigued to find a heavy pot on the burner, brim full of mouldy stew. Upstairs I found nothing except Mark's brown leather wallet. It was empty except for a couple of pound notes, his driving licence, and a blood donor's card which showed his group to be B rhesus negative. I went and sat out in the sun and considered. Mark was almost obsessively neat and tidy, yet he had abandoned his digging and left the uncleaned fork in the earth. He had apparently burned all his papers before killing himself, yet had left his coffee mug unwashed. He had made himself a stew for his supper which he hadn't touched. And why drink coffee before a meal?
It's Gray, but he said nothing to me about not being satisfied with the verdict.
Oh, I don't think the verdict's in question, Sergeant Maskell. He doesn't suspect foul play. If he did, he'd have come to you. I think he wants to know what made his son kill himself. Scientific curiosity, if you like. And Mark's private miseries aren't really the police's problem, are they?
They could be. For example, say he killed himself because of blackmail. But there was never any suggestion of that.
Sergeant Maskell, could I ask you something? Are you satisfied, you personally, that he did kill himself?
Now, why should you ask that, Miss Gray?
I suppose because of the trouble you took. I've spoken to Miss Markland, and I read the newspaper accounts of the inquest. You called in a forensic pathologist. You had the body photographed before it was cut down. You analysed the coffee left in his mug.
Miss Gray, I treated the case as a suspicious death. That's my usual practice. This time the precautions proved unnecessary, but they might not have been.
But something worried you. Something didn't seem right.
Oh, it seems straightforward enough. We get more than our share of suicides in Cambridge, you know, and this was typical. Lonely young man throws up his studies and drops out. 3 weeks later he's dead. No signs of a struggle, and a suicide note in his typewriter, and much the kind of note you'd expect. Admittedly, he took the trouble to destroy all his papers while leaving the garden fork dirty and the digging half completed. And he bothered to cook himself a supper but didn't eat it. But all that proves nothing. People do behave irrationally, particularly suicides. No, none of that worried me. It was the knot.
The knot?
Yeah. How would you use this to hang yourself, Miss Gray?
Is this...
That's what he used. Obviously it's meant as a strap, but Miss Leeming testified that he used to wear it wound 2 or 3 times round his waist as a belt. Well, Miss Gray?
Well, first of all, of course, I'd slip the tapered end through the buckle end to make a noose. I'd put it round my neck, stand on a chair, and put the other end over the hook. I'd pull it up fairly tight, make 2 half hitches to hold firm. Then, I suppose, I'd pull hard on the strap to make sure the knot didn't slip and the hook would hold. Then I'd kick away the chair.
Look at that. That's a picture of the knot.
That is odd.
He'd never have been able to tie that knot with his hands above his head. No one could. A great loop like that with a bowline. The only way would be to make the noose first. Pull it till the strap fitted his neck like a collar, and then tie the bowline. Then he'd have got on the chair, put the loop over the steel hook, and kicked the chair away. Look, this one of the corpse shows you what I mean.
Oh, Lord. Yes, I see. Barely 4 inches of strap between his neck and the knot. Your way's the only way he could have done it. If he did. But suppose someone else pulled the noose round his neck and then strung him up. He'd be heavy, a dead weight. In that case, wouldn't it be easier to make the knot first and then hoist him onto the chair?
Having first asked him to hand over his belt.
Why use the belt? The murderer could have strangled him with something else. Or there are other ways. A thin plastic bag dropped over his head and held tight against his face.
I can see you'd be a resourceful murderer, Miss Gray. Yes, it's possible. But we found no sign of a struggle.
But what if he were drugged first?
I thought of that. That's why I had the coffee analysed. But he wasn't. The post-mortem confirmed that.
How much coffee had he drunk?
Oh, about half a mugful. And he died immediately afterwards, sometime between 7 and 9 p.m.
Wasn't it odd that he drank coffee before his meal?
There's no law against it. Anyway, we don't know when he intended to eat his supper. You can't build a murder case on the order a man chooses to take his food.
There was nothing else? The note? Prints on the typewriter?
Nothing.
So in the end you accepted it was suicide?
In the end, I accepted there was no possibility of proving otherwise.
But you had a hunch. My partner used to tell me that his old CID colleague, Superintendent Dalgleish, do you know him? Always backed his hunches.
Ah, well, that's the Met for you. They can afford to indulge themselves. If I backed all my hunches, I'd get no work done. It's not what you suspect that counts in the end, it's what you can prove.
May I take the suicide note and strap?
Oh, why not? No one else seems to want them. Here.
Down the winding cavern we groped our endless way. But I said, if you please, we will commit ourselves. Oh, that's odd.
What?
Oh, nothing. At least Mark Callender must have been an experienced typist. This was done by an expert.
Well, maybe he was. We'd nothing to compare it with. All his papers had been burnt. Oh, there was one intriguing detail. He may have been with a woman on the day he died. The pathologist found the merest trace of purple-red lipstick on his upper lip.
I thought it was by Blake, but everyone knows it's John Donne.
Excuse me. Hugo and Sophie Tilling? The college porter said I'd find you out here in the gardens.
I'm Hugo.
How do you do? My name is Cordelia Gray.
What shall Cordelia do? Love and be silent.
People who feel the need to joke about my name usually go on to inquire after my sisters. I'm afraid it gets very boring.
It must do. I'm sorry. This is Sophie. Hello. This is Isabelle de Lasterie, and this is David Stevens.
All right.
Hello, Miss Gray. How do you do?
We haven't met, have we?
I'm afraid not.
Sit down, Cordelia Gray, and explain your desires.
Thank you. I'm a private detective. Sir Ronald Callender has asked me to find out why his son died.
Good God. You're telling us Ronald Callender is inquiring into Mark's death?
Is that so extraordinary?
I find it incredible. He took no interest in his son while he was alive. Why begin now he's dead?
How do you know he took no interest?
I wonder you can stomach that arrogant fascist.
I didn't inquire into his politics.
Oh, was it Sir Ronald who suggested you question us?
He said you and your brother were Mark's friends. He saw you at the inquest and funeral.
For God's sake, is that his idea of friendship?
But you were there.
We went to the inquest.
I did not go.
No, not Isabel. We considered she'd be decorative, but unreliable.
And the funeral? Were you there too?
We were. The Cambridge crematorium, a very subdued affair. Only 6 celebrants. We 3, Ronald Callender, that secretary housekeeper of his, and an old nanny type, clad all in black. She cast rather a gloom over the proceedings, I thought. Actually, she looked so exactly like an old family retainer that I suspect she was a policewoman in disguise.
You've no idea who she was?
We weren't introduced. It wasn't a chummy kind of funeral. Sir Ronald wore a mask of public grief.
And Miss Leeming?
Her suffering looked real enough. Incidentally, the old lady was called Pillbeam. Anyway, that was the name on the wreath.
That awful cross of roses with the black-edged card. I might have guessed it came from her. But how do you know?
I looked, Sophie, honey, I looked. The card read, with sincere sympathy from Nanny Pillbeam.
How beautifully feudal. Poor old Nanny, it must have cost her a packet.
Did Mark ever talk about her Nanny Pillbeam?
No.
Not to me.
Mr. Lastery?
To me, never.
He never talked about her. But now I rather think I did see her once before the funeral.
Really?
Yeah, on Mark's 21st birthday, about 6 weeks ago. I happened to be in the porter's lodge when she arrived and asked to see him. I'm pretty sure it was her. She went up to his room and they were together about an hour. I saw her leaving. He never mentioned her to me then or later.
Look, you were his friends. Please, tell me about him.
Mark was a very private person. I'm not sure how far any of us knew him. He was quiet, gentle, self-contained. He was very kind. He cared about people.
He was sweet.
He was sweet, and he's dead. There you have it. None of us saw him after he chucked college. He didn't consult us before he left, and he didn't consult us before he killed himself. He was, as my sister has told you, a very private person. I suggest you leave him in his privacy.
Someone almost certainly visited him at the cottage on the night he died. I intend to find out who that person was.
Well, it wasn't any of us. We were all in the second row of the dress circle at the Arts Theatre watching Pinter. And it wouldn't be difficult to prove it.
We must be going.
Up you get.
You go back to college, Hugo?
Yes, eventually.
Why not tell that arrogant bastard Pa Calendar to go to hell and leave his son in peace? Find yourself a nice, simple case of murder.
Did you enjoy the Pinter, Mr. Lastery? Weren't you frightened when the student shot himself in the first scene?
Oh, I did not care. I was with Hugo and the others.
Your friend doesn't seem to know the difference between Pinter and Hampton.
My friend, as you choose to call her, is in Cambridge to learn English. So far, her progress has been, what shall I say, erratic. One can never be certain how much Isabel has understood.
I don't mind talking about Mark, if you think it'll help. Come round to my house this afternoon, if you like. Say 2 o'clock. Davy and I are going on the river later. You can come too.
Where do you live?
57 Norwich Street. Don't be late.
Hello?
Oh, it's you. Oh, come in. Davy's gone to buy some food for the picnic.
What a lovely house. Thank you. Is it yours?
Yes. Our grandmother died 2 years ago and left Hugo and me some money. I used my share as a down payment. Hugo spent all his on laying down wine. I suppose that says something about us.
I suppose so.
You don't like my brother, do you?
Not very much. I thought he was rather rude to me.
He didn't mean to be.
That's rather worse, isn't it? Rudeness should always be intentional. Otherwise, it's just insensitivity.
Hugo's not at his best when Isabel's around. She has that effect on him.
Was she involved with Mark?
Oh, you'll have to ask her, Cordelia. But I shouldn't think so. They hardly knew each other. Mark was my lover, not hers.
Ah.
I thought I'd better get you here to tell you myself, since someone's bound to, sooner or later. We were lovers for almost the whole of last year. It ended just after Christmas, when I met Davy.
Were you in love?
I'm not sure. Mark needed to believe himself in love, and I'm not sure I know what the word means.
I suppose I only meant, were you fond of each other, and did you like going to bed together?
Both of those things.
Why did it end? Did you quarrel?
No, one didn't quarrel with Mark. That was one of the troubles with him. I told him I didn't want to go on with the affair, and he took it as calmly as if I were breaking a dinner date. He didn't try to argue. Oh, and if you're wondering if the break had anything to do with his death, well, you're wrong. I was probably fonder of him than he was of me.
Then why did he kill himself?
He left a note.
A note, perhaps. But as Miss Leeming pointed out, not an explanation. It's a lovely piece of prose, at least I think so. But as a justification for suicide, it simply isn't convincing.
It convinced the jury.
Well, it doesn't convince me. Think, Sophie. There are only 2 reasons for killing yourself. Escaping from something or escaping to something. The first is rational. If you're in intolerable pain, for example, physical or mental. The second makes no sense. Nobody would kill themselves just in order to experience death. But that's what that piece of William Blake is suggesting. I simply don't believe it.
You've thought it all out, haven't you? I'm not sure that suicides do. The act is probably impulsive and irrational.
Was Mark impulsive and irrational?
I didn't know Mark.
But you were lovers. You slept with him.
Yeah, but I didn't know him. I thought I did, but I didn't know the first thing about him.
You went to dinner at Garforth House, didn't you?
Mm.
What was it like?
Sir Ronald was attentive enough when he noticed I was there. Miss Leeming looked me over like a prospective mother-in-law. Mark was rather quiet. I think he'd taken me there to prove something, to me, or perhaps to himself. Then a month later, Hugo and I were invited together. That's when I met Davy. He was a guest of one of the research biologists, and Ronald Callender was angling to get him. Davy did a vacation job there in his final year. If you want the inside dope on Garforth House, you should ask him.
Sophie! You're there!
Oh, there's Davy with the food. Are you coming on the river with us?
Why not?
She's good, isn't she? That punt pole weighs, you know.
Every self-respecting undergraduate picked up the art of punting by the end of their second term.
After a dunking or two.
I'm sure it looks easier than it is.
Balance and rhythm. That's what it's all about.
And not getting the pole stuck in the mud at the bottom.
Is Sir Ronald Callender a good scientist?
Science is perfectly respectable. At present, his lab is working on expanding the use of biological monitors to assess pollution of the sea and estuaries. R.C. isn't so hot himself, but then you can't expect too much original science from the over 50s. But he's a great spotter of talent, and he certainly knows how to run a team.
Then why didn't you stay on when he offered you a job?
Well, it's too much of a one-for-all band of brothers approach. They even publish their papers collectively as the Callender Research Laboratory, and not under their individual names. That wouldn't do for me. Anyway, he pays too generously and asks too much. I don't like being bought.
Is that what happened to Chris Lunn?
Oh, that boy's a bloody wonder. Ronald Callender found him in a children's home when he was 15. Don't ask me how. And trained him to be a lab assistant. He couldn't find a better. There isn't an instrument made which Chris Lunn can't learn to understand and care for. If anyone in that lab is indispensable, it's Lunn. Certainly Ronald Callender cares a damn sight more for him than he did for his son. And Lunn, as you might guess, regards R.C. as God Almighty. You've got to hand it to Callender. He certainly knows how to pick his slaves.
And is Miss Leeming a slave?
Well, I wouldn't know just what Eliza Leeming is. She manages the business side, and like Lunn, she's probably indispensable. Lunn and she seem to have a love-hate relationship. Or perhaps a hate-hate relationship. I'm not very clever at detecting these psychological nuances.
This is Clare Bridge. One of the prettiest. It was built in 1639. They say the architect got 3 shillings for the design.
It's lovely. Talking of money, how on earth does Sir Ronald pay for a private laboratory?
Who knows? They say most of the money came from his wife, and he and Elizabeth Leeming invested it rather cleverly. They'd have needed to. It's an expensive hobby. While I was there was talk of the Wolvington Trust getting interested. R.C.'s been wooing them for years. Now, if they decide to provide financial support, most of Sir Ronald's money troubles would be over. Come to think of it, Mark's death must have hit him. Mark was due to come into a pretty substantial fortune in 4 years' time, and he told Sophie he intended handing most of it over to Dad.
That's true, Cordelia.
But why on earth should he do that?
God knows. He didn't say, and I didn't ask. But he seemed pretty anxious to tell me. Isabel de Laster is giving a party tonight, Cordelia. We're all going. Mark's tutor, Edward Horsefall, will probably be there. We thought you might like to talk to him.
Thanks very much, I would.
Good. Well, call by my house at 8, and we'll go on together. Okay?
What about over there?
Perfect.
I'll tie her up.
Ooh, careful! You'll have us all in the cab.
But that's a Renoir.
Yes. Don't sound so shocked, Cordelia. It's only a small Renoir. Isabel asked Papa for a picture for her sitting room. You didn't expect him to provide a print, did you?
Would Isabel have known the difference?
Oh, yes. If there's one thing Isabel can recognise, it's an expensive object when she sees one.
I was determined to speak to Isabel alone during the evening, but I could see it wouldn't be easy. I decided to explore the house. On my return, I overheard an interesting exchange.
But if Sir Ronald is paying her to find out about Mark, why cannot I pay her to stop?
Darling Isabel, not everyone can be bought.
Really? Actually, I quite like her, even if it is an unsuitable job for a woman.
We all like her. The question is, how do we get rid of her?
Oh, Cordelia! I'm so pleased you've come.
Hugo, do you think you could get me another glass of wine?
Of course. White, wasn't it?
Thank you. Isabel, I need to know what you know about Mark.
But I wasn't there when he did it.
When who did what?
When Mark killed himself, I wasn't there.
But you were there some days earlier, weren't you? You called at the house and asked for him. Miss Markland saw you.
Yes, I went to see Mark. They gave me his address at the college lodge.
Why? Why did you go?
I went to visit him.
Was he your lover?
Oh, no, Mark was never my lover.
Then what happened that afternoon?
I waited for him at the cottage till he finished his work. Then we had tea with funny mugs. After that we went for a walk and then we had supper.
Mark made a salad. And then?
I drove home.
What about the time before that? When did you see him before that tea party?
Oh, that was a few days before Mark left college. We went for a picnic in my car to the seaside. But first we stopped at a town, St. Edmund's Town, is it? And Mark saw a doctor.
Why? Was he ill?
Oh, no, he was not ill. And he did not stay long enough for, an examination. He was in the house a few minutes only. I waited for him in the car.
Did he say why he went there?
No, but I do not think he got what he wanted. Afterwards he was sad for a little time, but then we went to the sea and he was happy again.
Your drink, Cordelia.
Cordelia wanted to talk to me about Mark.
No doubt. You told her, I hope, that you spent one day with him motoring to the sea and one afternoon and evening at Summertrees and didn't see him after that.
She told me. She was practically word perfect. I think she's safe to be let out on her own now.
You shouldn't be sarcastic, Cordelia. It doesn't become you.
Enjoying yourself?
Not very much.
Come and meet a friend of mine. He's been asking who you are.
No thanks, Davy. I must keep myself free for Mr. Horsfall. I don't want to miss him.
Suit yourself. Aha! Your wish is granted. There is the long-awaited Edward. Come along. I'll introduce you. This, Cordelia, is Edward Horsfall. Edward, meet Cordelia Gray. She wants to talk about Mark Callender. See you later.
Yes, Mark. What do you want to know?
Anything you can tell me. You taught him history. Was he any good at it?
He was more rewarding to teach than some students, but I don't know why he chose history. He could just as well have read one of the sciences.
Perhaps to cock a snook at his father?
You know, there's one thing about Isabelle de Lastourie's parties. The drink is excellent. Presumably because Hugo orders it. What are you drinking?
The white wine. Thank you.
What were we talking about? Oh, yes, why Mark chose history. When asked, he gave all the right reasons. He may have believed them. What's your college, incidentally?
No college. I work. I'm a private detective.
Are you? My uncle employed one of those to find out if my aunt was being screwed by their dentist. She was, but he could have found out much more easily by simply asking them. His way, he lost the services of a wife and of a dentist simultaneously, and paid through the nose to boot. I should have thought the job was...
An unsuitable job for a woman?
Not at all. Entirely suitable, I should have thought. Requiring, I imagine, infinite curiosity, infinite pains, and a penchant for interfering with other people. Incidentally, why are you so interested in Mark Callender?
His father's paying me to find out why he died. I was hoping you might be able to help. I mean, did he ever give you a hint that he might be unhappy? Unhappy enough to kill himself? For instance, did he explain why he gave up college?
Not to me. I never felt I got near him. He made a formal goodbye, thanked me for what he chose to describe as my help, and left. I made the usual noises of regret.
I'm not sure that Mark did kill himself. I think it could have been murder.
Unlikely, surely. Who'd have murdered him? And why? He didn't provoke even a vague dislike in anyone, as far as I know, except probably his father. But Ronald Callender couldn't have done it, if that's what you're hoping. He was dining in hall at high table on the night Mark died. It was a college feast night. I sat next to him. His son phoned him.
When? When did Mark phone?
Soon after the meal started, I suppose. Benskin, he's one of the college servants, came in and gave him a message. Must have been between 8 and 8:15. Callender disappeared for 10 minutes or so, then came back and got on with his soup.
Did he say what Mark wanted? Did he seem disturbed?
Neither. We hardly spoke during the meal, and now, you must excuse me. A person I particularly want to meet has just turned up. Goodbye. Nice to have met you.
Look, Hugo, I want to talk to one of the servants at your college. Benskin. Would he be there tonight?
He may be. He's one of the few who live in college. But I doubt you'd winkle him out of his lair on your own. If it's all that urgent, I'd better come with you.
As you can see, Sir Ronald has asked me to inquire into his son's death.
So this says, miss, thank you. How can I help?
I'm told that on the night he died, Mr. Mark Callender phoned the college, and that you passed the message to Sir Ronald, who was dining at high table.
No, that's not quite right, miss.
How do you mean?
When I took the message, I thought it was Mr. Callender calling, but I was wrong. I made a mistake.
It wasn't Mark.
How did you find out, Mr. Benskin?
Sir Ronald himself told me, miss. I saw him in college a few days after his son's death. Of course, I offered my condolences, and we exchanged a few words. It was then I referred to the phone call, and Sir Ronald told me I'd been mistaken. He told me it wasn't Mr. Callender who called.
Did he say who it was?
He said his lab assistant, Mr. Chris Lunn.
Did that surprise you? That you were wrong, I mean?
I confess I was a little surprised, miss, but the mistake is understandable. I asked who it was wanted Sir Ronald, and I thought the caller said his son. It must have been Chris Lunn. The two sound quite alike.
Do you really believe you misheard what was said?
Sir Ronald could have been in no doubt about the person who phoned him. Is there anything else, miss?
He doesn't give a damn, does he?
Why should he? He's been in college for 70 years. He's seen it all before. 1,000 ages in his sight are but an evening gone. Yeah, the only time I've known Benskin phased over an undergraduate suicide was when it was a duke's son. He thought there were some things college simply shouldn't permit.
But he wasn't mistaken about Mark's call, you could tell that. He knows what he heard. But of course he isn't going to admit it. Do you think he was mistaken?
Chris Lunn, his son? Bad line, and it is on the cards. Oh, come on, Cordelia. You can't possibly suspect Ronald Callender of having a hand in his son's death. Be logical. Callender may be many things, but he's not a fool. Mark is dead and cremated. Then Sir Ronald employs you to stir things up. Why on earth should he, if he's got something to hide?
Of course I don't suspect him of killing his son. But he doesn't know how Mark died, and that he desperately needs to know. That's why he's taken me on. I could tell that at one interview. I couldn't be wrong about that. But I don't understand why he should have lied about the phone call.
Oh. Perhaps Mark asked for help. Perhaps an urgent visit which Dad refused. You can imagine it. Don't be ridiculous, Mark. I'm dining at high table with the master. Pull yourself together. Only that wouldn't sound so well in open court. It's not for me to add to Sir Ronald's distress, but it is perhaps unfortunate that he chose to ignore what was obviously a cry for help. Had he left his meal immediately and gone to his son, this brilliant young student might still be alive today. Cambridge suicides, I've noticed, are always brilliant. I'm still waiting to hear of the student who killed himself just before being kicked out.
But Mark died between 7 and 9 that night. Why should Sir Ronald go out of his way to say it wasn't Mark who called? That phone call is his alibi.
He wouldn't see it like that. He doesn't need an alibi. If you know you're not involved and the question of foul play never arises, you don't think in terms of alibis. It's only the guilty who do that.
We walked on in silence through the warm-scented night. Lights were shining in college doorways, and the far gardens and interconnecting courts glimpsed as we passed, looked remote as in a dream. I was suddenly oppressed with loneliness. If Bernie Pride were alive, we'd be discussing the case, cosily ensconced in some Cambridge pub. We'd be speculating on the personality of the gentle young man who had bought a vulgar magazine of salacious nudes. Or had he? And if not, how had it come to be in the cottage garden? We'd be discussing a father who lied about his son's last phone call, speculating about an unclean spade, earth left undug, an unwashed coffee mug, a quotation from Blake. We'd be talking about Isabel, who was frightened, and Sophie, who was surely honest, and Hugo, who knew something he wasn't telling. As it was, I said good night to Hugo, walked back to Sophie's house, collected my car and drove to the cottage. I was tired when I arrived. The night was dark, and I felt in my bag for my torch and followed its bright pool round to the back door. By its light I fitted the key into the lock and stepped inside. The torch made erratic patterns of light on the tiled floor. Suddenly, I don't know why, my hand jerked upwards and the torch shone full on the thing that hung from the hook in the ceiling. It was the bolster from my bed, tied at one end so that a grotesque and bulbous head was created. The other end was stuffed into a pair of Mark's trousers. As I stared in fascinated horror, a breeze from the open door caught it, and as if twisted by a living hand, it swung slowly round and round.
Frederick Bailey, funeral directors.
Oh, good morning. I was wondering if you could help me.
If we can, madam.
I've come up to Cambridge for a funeral, and I'd like to send a rather special wreath. But I'm afraid I don't know any florists in the city. Could you recommend any who specialise in wreaths?
Well, there are a fair number of florists in Cambridge, madam, and they all put up a wreath for you. I know just the firm you want. They provide most of the really good wreaths for our interments. Very nice class of wreath indeed.
That sounds just what I'm after. Could you give me the details?
They're called Forget-Me-Not, and they're at 109 Anglia Road. I'm sure you'll get what you want from them.
Can I help you? Oh, I hope so. I'm from Sir Ronald Callender of Garforth House. His son was cremated on the 3rd of June, and their old nurse sent a wreath, a cross of red roses. Sir Ronald has lost her address and very much wants to write to her. The name is Pilbeam.
But Sir Ronald's already got the information. Another lady called 3 or 4 days ago. I looked out the details for her.
Good gracious. A bit of a mix-up. He doesn't seem to have got them. Still, I'm going straight back to Garforth House, so if you'd be so kind...
Oh, this is it. The card was inscribed from Nanny Pilbeam, but the order was placed by Mrs. Goddard of Lavender Cottage, Ickleton. 1 cross, 4 feet long, in red roses.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
You'll be wanting Mrs. Goddard, I dare say.
That's right. Can you tell me where I can find her?
She'll be over at the graveyard, I don't doubt. Usually is, this time of a fine morning. The cemetery on the Hingston Road. Can't miss it.
Mrs. Goddard, may I join you?
It's a nice stone, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I married Albert Goddard when I was 53. But I miss him as if we were childhood sweethearts.
I was admiring the lettering.
Cut deep, that is. Cost a mint, but it's worth it. That'll last, you see. Half the lettering here won't. It's that shallow. Takes the pleasure out of a cemetery. I like to know who people were and when they died and how long the women lived after they buried their menfolk. Of course, this stone looks a bit top-heavy at present. That's because I asked them to leave space for me. Also to Annie, his wife, who departed this life, and then the date. That'll even it up nicely. I've left the money to pay for it.
What text were you thinking of having?
Oh, no text. At rest will be good enough for both of us. We shan't be asking more of the good Lord than that.
That cross of roses you sent to Mark Callender's funeral was beautiful.
Oh, did you see it? You weren't at the funeral, were you? Yes, I was pleased with it. They made a nice job of it, I thought. Poor boy, he hadn't much else, had he? So you knew Mr. Mark. Would you be his young lady, perhaps?
No, not that. But I care about him. It's odd he never talked about his old nanny.
Oh, but I wasn't his nanny, my dear. Or at least only for a month or two. No, I was nanny to his dear mother.
But you visited Mark on his 21st birthday.
Oh, so he told you that, did he? Oh, I was glad to see him again after all those years. But I wouldn't have pushed myself on him. It wouldn't have been right, his father feeling as he did. No, I went to give him something from his mother. Something she'd asked me to do when she was dying. Do you know, I hadn't seen Mr. Mark for over 20 years, but I knew him at once. He had a great look of his mother about him, poor boy.
Could you tell me about it? It's not just curiosity, it's important for me to know.
Important, is it? Well, I don't know why it should be. It's all in the past now. She's dead, poor lady, and so is he. All that hope and promise come to naught. I haven't spoken to anyone else about it, but then who would care to know?
Tell me about Mark's mother.
She was a Miss Botley, Evelyn Botley. I was an under-nursemaid in the household before she was born. There was only little Harry then. He was killed in the war on his first raid over Germany. His dad took it very hard. There was never anyone to match Harry. Oh, poor Miss Evie. The master, he never really cared for her. The mistress died when she was born, and that may have made a difference. People say it does, but I've never believed it. If you ask me, it was just an excuse for not taking to the child to say she killed her mother.
Yes. I know a father who made it an excuse too. But it isn't their fault. We can't make ourselves love someone just because we want to.
More's the pity, my dear, or the world would be an easier place. But his own child, it's not natural.
Did she love him?
Well, how could she? You won't get love from a child if you don't give love.
What happened to her? How did she meet Sir Ronald Callender?
Oh, he wasn't Sir Ronald then, my dear. Oh, dear, no. He was Ronnie Callender, the gardener's son. They lived at Harrogate, you see. Oh, such a lovely house they had. When I first went into service there, they had 3 gardeners. I remember Ronnie Callender well. A good-looking lad, but he kept his thoughts to himself. He was clever, that one. Got a scholarship to the grammar school and did very well.
And Evelyn Botley fell in love?
Well, she may have done, my dear. What there was between them, who can tell? Then the war came and he went away. They met again in London, as people did in the war, and the next thing we knew, they were married.
And came to live here, outside Cambridge?
Oh, not till after the war, when he went up to the university. He got a grant because he was ex-service. She had some money from her father, and they bought the house he lives in now. Of course, he's done a lot to it since. Her father used to come and stay from time to time. She used to dread his visits, poor darling. He was looking for a grandchild, you see, and one didn't come. And then Mr. Callender finished at the university and got a job teaching. He wanted to stay on at the college and be a don or something like that, but they wouldn't have him. He used to say it was because he had no influence, but I reckon it was because he wasn't clever enough.
And then Mark was born?
Yes, on the 25th of April, 1951, 9 years after they were married. He was born in Italy. Mr. Botley was that pleased when she became pregnant he increased their allowance. And then they spent a lot of time in Italy. Oh, my lady loved Italy, always had. And I think she wanted the child to be born there. That's why she went out there in the last month of her pregnancy. I went to visit her about a month after she came home with the baby, and I've never seen a woman so happy. Oh, he was a lovely little boy.
But why did you visit her? Weren't you living and working there?
No, my dear, not for some months. She wasn't at all well in the early days of her pregnancy. So strained and unhappy you'd never believe. And then one day Mr. Callender sends for me and tells me she's taken against me and that I'll have to leave. Well, I wouldn't have believed it. But when I went to her, she just puts out her hand and says, "I'm sorry, Nanny. I think it would be better if you went."
Did you take it badly?
Oh, I've lived long enough to know pregnant women have strange fancies. I thought she'd ask me to come back afterwards, and so she did, but not living in. I took a bed-sit in the village. It worked very well, really. I gave 4 mornings a week to my lady, and the rest to other ladies in the village. I didn't see her often during her pregnancy, but we did meet once in Cambridge. She was very heavy, poor dear, dragging herself along. At first she pretended she hadn't noticed me, and then she thought better of it and came across the road. "We're off to Italy next week, Nanny," she says. "Isn't it lovely?" I said, "If you're not careful, my dear, that baby will be a little Italian." Oh, and she laughed. It seemed as though she couldn't wait to get back to the sun.
And what happened after she came home?
Dead before the year was out, my dear. She was never very strong and she caught flu. I helped look after her and I'd have done more, but Mr. Callender took over the nursing himself. He couldn't bear anyone else to be near her. We had only a few minutes together just before she died, and it was then she asked me to give her prayer book to Mark on his 21st birthday. "Wrap it up carefully and take it to him when he comes of age. You won't forget, will you?" Oh, I can hear her now. "Oh, I'll not forget, my darling," I said. "You know that." And then she said a strange thing. "If you do, or if you die before then, or if he doesn't understand, it won't really matter. It'll mean that God wants it that way."
Yes, that is strange. And what happened when you gave it to Mark?
Oh, we chatted. He was full of questions about his mother, things I'd have thought his father would have told him. Then a few days later he came to see me and asked the name of the doctor who'd treated his mother. Well, I told him it was old Dr. Gladwin. They'd always used him. I think it's a pity. He was 70 then and never really reliable. Drink, you know. But I expect he's gone to his rest long since, poor man. Anyway, I told Mr. Mark the name and he wrote it down. Then we had tea and a little chat and he left. I never saw him again.
And no one else knows about the prayer book?
Oh, no one in the world, my dear. Miss Leeming saw the florist's name on the card and asked them for my address. She came here the day after the funeral to thank me for attending, but I could see it was only curiosity. Of course, I didn't say anything. I never liked her, truth to tell. I'm not saying there was anything between her and Mr. Ronald. Not while Miss Evie was alive, anyway. She lived in a flat in Cambridge and kept herself to herself. She was teaching English at a local school.
Miss Leeming has a degree in English?
Oh, yes. She wasn't trained as a secretary. She gave up teaching when she started working for Mr. Callender. Of course, it wasn't until after Miss Evie died and he got the money that he set up his own laboratory.
So you didn't stay on to care for the baby?
No, I wasn't wanted. His father made it plain he didn't like me to see the child, and after all, a father has his rights. But now Mark's killed himself and we've all lost him.
Yes, but as to killing himself, I don't think he did. I don't remember much of my journey back to the cottage. I drove fast, concentrating on the road ahead, trying to control my rising excitement. The cottage looked and smelt just as I'd left it. I'd almost expected to find it ransacked, and the white leather-bound book of Common Prayer on the window shelf gone. But I saw that the white spine was still there among the taller and darker covers. I opened it, hardly knowing what I expected to find. But there was nothing. The only inscription, to Evelyn Botley from her godmother in 1936, could have no possible relevance. Disappointed, I put the book into my bag and drove into Cambridge. Once there, a few minutes' research in the public library soon restored my spirits. A long shot had paid off. Still on the medical register, though now well over 90, was a Dr. Gladwin of Bury St. Edmunds.
Of course he's in. Where else would he be? He's in here. You better come through. This way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There he is. See what you make of him.
Dr. Gladwin? Dr. Gladwin, I wanted to talk to you about a patient. It was a long time ago. Mrs. Callender. Do you remember Mrs. Callender of Garforth House?
Go on, ask him. It's all in his head, you know. That's what he used to tell me. I'm not one for records and notes. It's all in my head. Fat lot of use his head is to him now.
What happened to his medical records when he gave up his practice? Did anyone take them over?
That's what I just told you. There never were any records to speak of. And it's no use asking me. I was only good enough to be his nurse, before and after he married me. Still am. He never confided in me. I told the boy that too.
The boy?
Mark Callender. He came here asking about his mother. Then about 10 days later we get the other one calling.
What other one?
Walked in as if he owned the place. Wouldn't give a name, but I've seen his face somewhere. He comes in, marches up to the doctor and says, "Good afternoon, Gladwin," as if he's talking to a servant. I ask you. Then he bends down and looks at him. Eye to eye they were. Then up he stands, says good day and leaves. Oh, we're getting very popular, we are. Any more of you and I'll be charging for the show. That boy who came here, he said he'd sit with the doctor on a Sunday if I wanted a break. Tell him to come over if he wants to.
He would have come, I know, but I'm afraid he can't. He's dead. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what made me decide to stop at Bury on the way back and walk for 10 minutes in the Abbey gardens. But the glimpse of grass and flowers through the great Norman doorway was irresistible. I strolled down to the riverbank and sat down in the sun. After a moment I took the Book of Common Prayer from my bag. Suppose I were Evelyn Callender and wanted to leave a message which Mark would find and others might miss. Suddenly the answer seemed childishly simple. Surely somewhere on the page would the collect Gospel and Epistle for St. Mark's Day. He'd been born on the 25th of April. He'd been named after the saint. Quickly I flicked through to the page. And there I found what I was looking for. A small pattern of hieroglyphics so faint that the mark on the paper was little more than a smudge. It was a group of letters and figures. EMC, and underneath AA, and beneath that 14-1-52. The first 3 letters were, of course, his mother's initials. The numbers were the date on which he had carefully pricked out the message. But the double A! For a moment or two my mind chased associations with motoring and alcoholics. But then, thinking about Mark and the letters of the alphabet, I suddenly remembered the card I'd found in Mark's wallet. The blood donor card which recorded his group. He had been B. The double A must signify that Evelyn Callender had been Group AA. And there was only one reason why she would have wanted Mark to have that information.
I'm afraid you've got the wrong practice. It's Dr. Venables who looks after Sir Ronald Callender's household.
I'm ringing for Miss Leeming from Garforth House. I'm sorry to trouble you, but could you please remind me of Sir Ronald Callender's blood group? He's going to East Africa next month.
Just a minute, please. Callender. Incidentally, I should make a careful note of it if I were you. His son had to ring a month or so ago with the same inquiry. Callender. Sir Ronald is Group A.
I did not need to verify what I already knew. A man and a woman whose blood groups are A cannot produce a B group child. I went to bed that night restless with excitement, but too mentally exhausted to tease out the tangle of conjecture at the back of my mind. I had no theory to explain the mystery of Mark's birth, Isabel's terror, Hugo and Sophie's secret knowledge, Miss Markland's obsessive interest in the cottage, the oddities and uncertainties which surrounded Mark's death. After a while, though, I relaxed and eventually fell asleep. Suddenly I was awake, eyes wide open in the half-darkness. Someone was outside the cottage. I wriggled out of my sleeping bag and stole to the window. Almost hidden by the high hedge was Isabel de Lastory's Renault, and coming slowly up the path with Isabel was Hugo Tilling. I crept downstairs, silently unlocked the back door, and hardly daring to breathe, waited in the shadows at the foot of the stairs.
Just a minute. I'll strike a match.
Isabel, stop! It's only me, Cordelia.
Oh, shut up, you stupid bitch. It's only Cordelia.
I'm sorry.
What the hell did you do that for? What are you doing here anyway, lurking in the shadows?
I could ask you that.
But we came to collect the Antonello that Isabel lent Mark when she came to supper here. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to cure her of her morbid obsession with the place. We've been to the Pit Club ball. It seemed a good idea to call here on our way home. Obviously, it was a bloody stupid idea. Is there any drink in the place?
I can make some coffee. Come on, Isabel. You'll soon feel better. I'll light the lamp.
Oh, thank you.
Hugo, you said Isabel's morbidly obsessed with this place. Why is she?
Isabel's very sensitive. She isn't tough like you.
Rubbish. According to you, she's only been here once before. No. There's something both of you know. And it would be better if you tell me now. If you don't, I'll simply report back to Sir Ronald that you're all somehow concerned in his son's death. I can't see Isabel standing up to even the mildest police questioning, can you?
Can't you take my word that Mark died by his own hand, and that if you do call in the police it'll cause unhappiness and distress to his father and his friends, and be absolutely no help to anyone?
No, Hugo, I can't.
Then, if I do tell you what we know, will you promise that it won't go any further?
How can I? Any more than I can promise to believe you.
Oh, tell her, Hugo. What does it matter?
I think you must. I don't think you've any choice.
So it seems. All right. I told you that the four of us, Sophie, Isabel, Davy and I, went to the Arts Theatre on the night Mark died. That, as you probably guessed, was only 3/4 true. There were only 3 tickets when I booked, and as Isabel is bored stiff by any show with a cast of less than 50, she was obviously the one to be left out. So, neglected by her current lover, she reasonably decided to seek consolation with the next.
Mark was not my lover, Hugo.
Oh, I know. Mark was a romantic. He never took a girl to bed, or anywhere else that I could see, until he judged that there was an adequate degree of interpersonal communication, or whatever jargon he used, between them. I gather that with Isabel the relationship hadn't reached the necessary depths. It was only a matter of time, of course. Where Isabel was concerned, Mark was as capable of self-deception as the rest of us.
Mark never made love to me, Hugo.
That's what I'm saying.
But what happened that night?
Isabel drove here and arrived shortly after 7:30. The door was open and she came in. Mark was already dead. His body was hanging by the strap from that hook. But he didn't look as he did when Miss Markland found him next morning. Oh, you tell her. Isabel, darling, there are some things that all Papa's money can't shield you from, and this is one. Go on.
I thought I'd call to see Mark, and perhaps we would have supper together. So I came to the back door and pushed it open. I did not knock because I thought it would be a surprise for Mark.
And then?
And then I saw him. He was hanging there by the belt from the hook in the ceiling, and I knew he was dead. Cordelia, it was horrible. He was dressed like a woman.
Like a woman?
In a black bra and panties, nothing else. And his face, he had painted his lips all over his lips, Cordelia, like a clown. It was terrible, but it was funny, too. I wanted to scream and I wanted to laugh all at the same time. He did not look like Mark. He did not look human at all. And on the table there were 3 pictures. Not nice pictures, Cordelia. Pictures of naked women.
Oh, don't look like that, Cordelia. It does happen, you know. Actually, it's quite an innocuous sexual deviation. He wasn't involving anyone but himself, and he didn't mean to kill himself. That was just bad luck. I imagine the buckle of the belt slipped, and he didn't have a chance.
I don't believe it.
I thought you mightn't, but it's true, Cordelia. Why not come with us now and ring Sophie? She'll confirm it.
I don't mean that. I mean, I still don't believe Mark killed himself. Isabel, you said the door was open. Did you notice the key?
It was in this side of the door. I saw it when I went out.
What about the curtains?
They were like now, across the window.
And where was the lipstick?
What lipstick, Cordelia?
The lipstick used to paint Mark's lips. It wasn't in the pockets of his jeans, or the police would have found it, and they didn't. So where was it? Did you see it on the table?
Oh, there was nothing on the table except the pictures.
What colour was the lipstick?
Purple. An old lady's colour. No one would choose such a colour, I think.
And the underclothes, what were they like?
Nothing special. They were from M&S.
Did you touch anything? Mark's body, perhaps, to see if he was dead?
I couldn't touch him. I touched nothing. And I knew he was dead.
A respectable, sensible, law-abiding citizen would have found the nearest telephone and rung the police. Luckily, Isabel is none of these things. Her instinct was to come to me. She drove to the theatre and met us as we came out. The three of us drove straight back here. Oh, we stopped off briefly to collect Davy's camera and flash.
Why?
Well, that was my idea. Obviously, we had no intention of letting the Fuzz and Ronald Callender know how Mark had died. We planned to clean him up and dress him in his own clothes. But I thought we'd better have a record of how we found him. We didn't know what law we'd be breaking, but I reckoned there must be one. And we didn't want to risk a murder charge. However, in the event, our good intentions were frustrated. Someone else had got here first.
Tell me about it.
There was nothing to tell. Davy and I told the girls to wait in the car. Isabel was too frightened to be left alone, and it seemed only fair to Mark to prevent Sophie from seeing him. Odd, this concern for the susceptibilities of the dead.
Perhaps it's only when people are dead that we can safely show how much we cared for them.
Oh, when we got here, there was nothing for us to do. We found Mark's body and this room just as Miss Markland described them at the inquest. Mark was naked except for his jeans. No magazine pictures on the table, no lipstick on his face. But there was a suicide note in the typewriter and a mound of ash in the grate. Oh, he didn't hang around. Someone else might have turned up at any minute. Mark must have had more visitors that night than during the whole of his time at the cottage.
Look, someone played a stupid trick on me last night. When I got back here from the party, there was a bolster slung from that hook. Did you do that?
Of course not. Why on earth should I? In any case, I didn't even know you were living here. The most likely person is whoever came here before us.
I know. Someone took a risk for Mark. He or she won't want me ferreting around. But they'd have got rid of me a lot more easily by telling me the truth. As it is, I'm finding it all out for myself.
I, George Albert Botley of Stonegate Lodge, Harrogate, being of sound mind, hereby direct that on my death all my possessions shall be sold, since I wish to prevent the usual unseemly wrangling over bric-a-brac. I bequeath the sum of £500 to each of the servants in my employ at the time of my death. Of the residue of my estate, I bequeath one half absolutely to my daughter, Evelyn, now that she has demonstrated that she has at least one of the normal attributes of a woman. The remaining half, valued today at approximately £400,000, but it is to be hoped to be much enlarged by judicious investment, I bequeath to my beloved grandson, Mark Callender, to be his absolutely on his attaining his 25th birthday. In the interim, I direct that the bequest be placed in trust on his behalf. Details of the trust and trustees are appended. Signed this 26th day of July, 1951. George Albert Botley.
I had set aside a couple of hours for searching out the Botley will in Somerset House, but the process took longer than I expected. I managed to catch the 1816 from Liverpool Street, but it was nearly 8 o'clock before I arrived back at the cottage. I felt in my shoulder bag for the key, and bending down, fitted it into the lock. The attack caught me completely by surprise. A blanket fell over me, and then there was a cord around my neck, pulling the hot, stifling wool taut against my mouth and nostrils. As I gasped for breath, a sharp pain exploded in my chest, and I passed out. The moment of liberation was a miracle, and a horror. Suddenly the blanket was whipped off. There was a second of sweet, reviving air, a glimpse of sky. And then I felt myself falling in helpless astonishment into cold darkness. Then my body hit the water. Ice-cold hands dragged me into a vortex of horror. I struggled to the surface through what seems an eternity of cold, encompassing blackness. I looked up. The dark tunnel that stretched above me ended in a moon of blue light. Even as I looked, the well lid was dragged slowly across like the shutter of a camera, blotting out the light. Desperately I trod water, reaching for the bottom. There was no bottom. Frantically, moving hands and feet, willing myself not to panic, I felt round for a possible foothold. There was none. The funnel of bricks, smooth and sweating with moisture, stretched around and above me like a circular tomb. And then I felt a saving anger. I wouldn't let myself drown, wouldn't die in this horrible place, alone and terrified. The well was deep but small, the diameter barely 4 feet. If I kept my head and took time, I could brace my legs and shoulders against the bricks and work my way upwards. Slowly I began, first shifting my feet one after the other in tiny sliding steps, and then humping up my body inch by painful inch. Once my legs slipped, and I slithered back several yards before I found a purchase. Once I was gripped by cramp and lay stretched as if on a rack until the agony passed and my muscles could move. It seemed as if I climbed for hours, my strength fading the higher I reached. And then, when I knew that without help I could get no further, help appeared. A few feet above my head I saw, dim in the fading light, the bottom rung of a short ladder fixed to the last few feet of the well. I lifted my hands towards it, knowing even as I did so that it was out of reach. It was then I remembered the strap that had squeezed Mark's life out of his body, that Sergeant Maskell had let me keep, and that I had been using ever since as a belt, wound twice around my waist, comforting and reassuring as a talisman. Carefully I threw the buckle end over the bottom rung of the ladder and did up the strap. I have no clear memory of the last half hour of the climb, but finally I reached the top of the ladder and strapped myself firmly to the uprights. For a moment I relaxed. I was safe. Sooner or later someone would come and rescue me. Miss Markland knew I was at the cottage. Miss Markland would come. And then the final horror burst upon me. There would be no rescue. Someone would indeed come to the well, come stealthily under cover of darkness, but it would be my murderer. He had to return. It was part of his plan. He would come back that night and remove the well cover again. No one would ever be able to prove that my death wasn't an accident. There was nothing I could do but wait, until I heard his footsteps and the lid drawn slowly back to reveal his face. I would not plead for mercy from the man who had murdered Mark. I knew there would be no mercy.
Cordelia! Cordelia, it's me!
Miss Markland, thank God!
There, drink that. How are you feeling now?
Much better, thank you.
But how did it happen? You must tell me.
I don't know, I can't remember anything. I must have decided to explore the well and lost my balance.
But the well lid, the lid was in place.
I know, someone must have replaced it.
But why? Who would have come this way?
I don't know, but someone must have. Someone must have dragged it back. Miss Markland, you saved my life.
Oh.
How did you notice what had happened?
I came to the cottage to see if you were still here. I came earlier today, but there was no sign of you. I come here often, you know. I always look at the well.
You saved my life. But please, do go now. Please. I'm all right. Really I am.
But you aren't fit to be left alone. And whoever replaced the lid might come back.
I'm perfectly safe. Besides, I have a gun. I only want to be left in peace. Please don't worry about me.
I don't like strangers snooping about the cottage. Oh, I don't mean you, Cordelia, you're different. But the cottage is very special to me. You don't know why, do you? You don't know why I come to the cottage day after day, why I stand for hours by that well. I'll tell you.
No, not if...
I must. I want to. That well. It killed my baby.
Oh, no.
My little boy. My Peter. 4 years old. He fell to his death.
My dear...
This cottage was our place, Pete's and mine. We couldn't marry. He was already married, and she wouldn't divorce him, so this is where we came. This is where we conceived our child. Here, in this very room.
Miss Markland, please...
Of course I had the baby. It was my chance to get something out of life, to make up for all those unrealized hopes, lost opportunities. I had the baby and I brought him up on my own. No easy matter in those days. For 4 years, he was the centre of my world. We lived over at the house, but I never brought little Peter here, never, never, never. But that day, that horrible day, he somehow managed to get through the hedge. God knows how he climbed onto the rim of the well. But he did. And then... think of those last terrible minutes. Think of his crying out for his mummy. The cold, suffocating water dragging him to his death. That well robbed me of a precious and irreplaceable life. Tonight, I claimed a life back from the well. A life. For a life.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You've saved my life, and I'm grateful, but I can't bear to listen. I don't want you here. For God's sake, go! I collected Bernie's gun and loaded it. Then I went outside to wait, deep in the shelter of an elder bush. The slow minutes passed. Finally, I heard the sound of an engine, and someone stopped a car further up the road. A few seconds later, the sound of feet moving round the cottage was unmistakable. And now he was in sight, a stocky, broad-shouldered figure black against the light. When he got to the rim of the well, he waited, and the moon struck the whites of his eyes as he gazed slowly round. He bent down to the rope lying on the grass and threaded one end through the iron hoop of the well cover. I moved forward, the gun held firm and straight as Bernie had taught me. Good evening, Mr. Lunn. It is Chris Lunn, isn't it?
You! No!
Stop! I've got a gun! I warn you, I'll fire! But I didn't. As he fled up the road towards his van, I made for my car. He had the advantage. He'd left his engine running. I threw myself into the driving seat, reversed violently into the road, slammed my foot on the accelerator and gave pursuit. The rear lights of the van were just 100 yards ahead of me as we approached the Cambridge junction. I was gaining on him. He swerved round the corner. For a few moments he was out of sight. That's when it happened.
Miss Gray, what's happened? You look terrible. Come in.
Thank you.
What on earth are you doing with that gun?
Oh, I didn't realise. I had it with me in the car.
Well, let me take that. There's no one here you need to defend yourself against. Tell me what's happened.
No, I've come to report to Sir Ronald. Where is he?
Where he was the last time you came here, in his study. This way. It's great to see you, Ronald.
Miss Gray? Take a seat. What's the time?
10:30.
A quarter of an hour ago, I learned that Chris Lunn's been killed in a car crash. You know, I took him out of an orphanage 15 years ago. He never knew his parents. An ugly boy, difficult, already on probation. But he was one of the best natural scientists I've ever known. If he'd had the education, he'd have been as good as I am.
Then why didn't you give him his chance? Why didn't you educate him?
Because he was more useful to me as a lab assistant. I said he could have been as good as I am. That isn't good enough. I can find plenty of scientists as good. I couldn't have found another lab assistant to equal Lunn. You've come to report, of course. It's very late, Miss Gray, and as you can see, I'm tired. Can't it wait till tomorrow?
No. I'm tired too, but I want to finish the case tonight. Now.
Then tell me, why did my son kill himself? I take it you do have some news for me? You'd hardly have burst in here at this hour without something to report.
Your son didn't kill himself. He was murdered. He was murdered by someone he knew very well. Someone he didn't hesitate to let into the cottage. Someone who came prepared. He was strangled or suffocated, then slung up on that hook by his own belt. Last of all, his murderer painted his lips, dressed him in woman's underclothes, and spread out pictures of nudes on the table in front of him. It was meant to look like accidental death during sexual experiment. Such cases aren't so very uncommon.
And who did all this, Miss Gray?
You did. You killed your son.
What reason could I possibly have for doing such a thing?
Because he'd found out that your wife wasn't his mother. He'd realised that you defrauded your father-in-law into leaving his fortune to her and to him, and he'd no intention of accepting that legacy in 4 years' time. You were afraid he might make this knowledge public, and that if he did, if the truth came out, then that would be the end of the promised grant from the Wolvington Trust. The future of your laboratory was at stake. You couldn't take the risk.
Then who undressed him again? Who typed out that suicide note? Who washed the lipstick from his face?
That's what you must know. It's why you employed me, isn't it? You can't bear not to know. Well, I think I do know. But I shan't tell you. You've forfeited the right. You killed Mark, and you prepared an alibi just in case it was needed. You got Lunn to ring you at college and announce himself as your son. He was the one person you could rely on absolutely. He didn't require explanations. He did what you told him. But you'd prepared an alibi you didn't dare use, because you didn't know precisely when Mark's body was first discovered. If someone had found him and faked that suicide before you'd claimed to have spoken to him on the phone, your alibi would have been broken, and there's nothing more damning. So you put matters right with Benskin. You told him the truth, that it was Lunn who'd rung you. You could rely on Lunn to back you up. But it wouldn't really matter, would it? Even if he did talk, no one would believe him.
No, any more than they'll believe you. You've been determined to earn your fee, Miss Gray. Your explanation is ingenious. It even has a certain plausibility. But you know, and I know, that no police officer in the world would take it seriously. It's unfortunate for you that you couldn't question Lunn. And now, Lunn's dead.
I know. I saw the crash. He tried to kill me tonight. Did you know that? And earlier he tried to scare me into dropping the case. Was that because he'd begun to suspect the truth?
If he did try to kill you, he exceeded his instructions. I simply asked him to keep an eye on you, to see I was getting value for money. And so I am, in a way. But you mustn't indulge your imagination outside this room, you know. Unproven slander will get short shrift from the police and the courts. And what proof have you? My wife was cremated, and so was Mark. There's nothing, alive or dead, on this earth to prove that he wasn't her son.
You visited Dr. Gladwin to satisfy yourself that he was too senile to give evidence against you. You needn't have worried. He never did suspect, did he? You chose him as your wife's doctor because he was old and incompetent even then.
Be sure of one thing, Miss Gray. Had I ever needed to kill, I'd have done it effectively. I wouldn't be found out. If the police ever learn the state my son was found in, and they might, since someone other than you knows, it'll only reinforce their belief that he killed himself. Mark's death was necessary, you know, And unlike most deaths, it served a purpose. And don't say that what I'm doing here isn't worth a human life. Show me that hypocrisy. You don't know and you will never understand the value of what I'm doing here. Anyway, what difference will Mark's death make to you? You never heard of him before you came to Garforth House. What's the matter? Are you ill?
No, I'm not ill. I knew I must be right. But I can't believe it. I can't believe a human being could be so evil.
If you're capable of imagining it, then I'm capable of doing it. Haven't you discovered that about human beings yet, Miss Gray?
You could have let him live. The money wasn't important to him. He would have understood and kept quiet.
Would he? And how could he, or I, come to that? Have explained his rejection of a great fortune in 4 years' time. People at the mercy of what they call their conscience are never safe. My son was a self-righteous prig. How could I put myself and my work in his hands?
You're in mine, Sir Ronald.
You're mistaken, Miss Gray. I'm in no one's hands. We have no witnesses.
You have one, Ronald.
Eliza, how long have you been there?
Long enough.
Eliza, don't be silly.
You killed Mark.
Eliza! Miss Gray, can't you talk to her?
You killed my son.
Your son, Miss Leeming?
Of course, Mark was my son. His son and mine. I thought you might have guessed. He was right, you know, when he said no one could touch him. There was no proof.
Then how could you kill him? How could you be so sure?
This lipstick's mine. I found it a minute ago in the pocket of his dinner jacket. He last wore it when he dined in Hall on feast night. The night he killed Mark.
But it could have been planted there. Lunn could have put it there to incriminate him.
Chris Lunn didn't kill Mark. He was in bed with me at the time Mark died.
You were in love with Chris Lunn?
Don't look at me like that. I've loved only one man in my life, and he's the one I've just killed. Talk about things you understand. Love had nothing to do with what Chris Lunn and I needed from each other. Well, what are you waiting for? Hadn't you better phone the police?
Do you want me to?
What does it matter?
Do you want the world to know how your son died and who killed him? Is that what Mark would have wanted?
No. Mark never believed in punishment.
Then we've got to work quickly.
What should we do?
First, is there anyone in the house?
No, the servants are in London. No one's working in the lab tonight.
Thank heavens for that. Now, the first thing for you to do is wash your hands thoroughly. I don't know much about firing residue, but the police may test for it. As for the rest, what you don't see, you won't have the trouble of forgetting. What were you doing when we met in the hall?
Getting myself a nightcap, a whiskey.
Then you would have met me as I came out of the study. So go and get it and leave the glass on the side table in the hall. That's the kind of detail the police are trained to notice. And be quick, we're working on borrowed time.
I'll be as quick as I can.
Go on, Cordelia. How would you shoot yourself behind the right ear? Show me. No, Cordelia. That's the little mistake Mrs. Clarendon made, and it nearly hanged her. If you kill yourself with a shot behind the right ear, you'd press the trigger with your thumb and hold the revolver with the palm round the back of the butt. It's a case I'll never forget. First murder I ever worked on with the super. Inspector Dalgleish, as he then was. The Dalgleish pride triumph. Mrs. Clarendon confessed in the end. Yeah, thumb on the trigger, Cordelia. Palm round the back of the butt.
Right. All done.
Now, we must act out the rest just as it would have happened. It's essential we're telling as much of the truth as possible when we're questioned. You meet me as I come out of the room. I've been with Sir Ronald for about 2 minutes, no more. You put your glass of whiskey on the hall table and walk with me to the front door. You say... What would you say?
Has he paid you, Miss Gray?
No, I'm to come for my money in the morning. I'm sorry, it wasn't a success. I've told Sir Ronald I don't want to go on with the case.
That's your concern, Miss Gray. It was a foolish business in the first place. Oh, there's one thing you better know. I was the one who found Mark first and faked the suicide. He'd rung me earlier in the day and asked me to call. I couldn't get away till after 9 because of Lunn. I didn't want him to be suspicious.
But when you found Mark, didn't it occur to you there was something odd about his death? Door unlocked, no lipstick?
I suspected nothing until tonight when I heard you talking. We're all so damn sexually sophisticated these days. I believed what I saw. It was all horror, but I knew what I had to do. Do you know, typing the note was one of the worst parts. The sound of that typewriter in the quietness.
And it was the note that first put me on to you. When I first came here, you spoke the whole of the Blake quotation. The typed version was 10 words short. I first noticed that when I visited the police station. It pointed direct to you. That and the fact that you'd read English at Cambridge. We mustn't waste any more time before ringing the police. Someone may have heard the shot.
Not likely. We're some distance from the village.
Now you must walk with me to the car.
Do we hear it now?
Yes, we hear it now. What was that?
What?
It sounded like a shot.
It can't have been. Probably a car backfiring.
But there aren't any cars, Miss Leeming.
No.
And it came from the house. Come on, quickly.
I'm coming.
Through here. The study.
No, Miss Gray, let me. Please, Miss Gray. He shot himself. I'd better phone the police. What have you done in there? What about fingerprints?
Never mind, I've looked after that. All you have to remember is that you didn't know I had a gun when I first came to Garforth House. You didn't know Sir Ronald took it from me. You haven't seen that gun until this moment, all right?
Yes, all right.
Oh, and one thing. We mustn't talk together when the police are here, and we mustn't meet before the inquest. They'll know this can't be murder unless we two are in it together. And why should we be when we've only met once before?
But there are things you probably want to ask me. How about King's College Chapel, say the first Sunday following the inquest, after evensong? I'll be in the chancel. It'll seem natural enough for us to meet then. That is, if we're both still free.
We shall be, if we keep our heads. Now, let's ring the police.
Yes, why not? What's there to be afraid of? After all, we shall be dealing only with men. Now it's all over, I shall have to be grateful to you for the rest of my life. I'm not sure I like that. An unaccustomed humility.
Then don't feel it. I was thinking of Mark, not of you.
I thought you might have acted in the service of justice or some such abstraction.
I wasn't thinking about any abstraction. I was thinking about a person. Shall we walk down to the river?
Pregnancy isn't difficult to fake, you know. It only needs a loose corset and judicious stuffing. Evelyn found no problem in carrying through the deception. We had to get rid of that tedious fool Nanny Pilbeam, of course. Ronald was delighted. He was tired of being spoken to as if he was still the bright grammar school boy from Harrogate.
She told me Mark had a great look of his mother about him.
She would, sentimental as well as stupid. I discovered I was carrying Ronald's child at about the same time Evelyn learned she could never conceive. I wanted the baby. Ronald desperately wanted a son. Evelyn's father was obsessional about his need for a grandson and was willing to part with $500,000 to prove it. It was all so easy. We had no conscience about defrauding George Botley. He was arrogant. Brutal. He even subsidized his own deceit. Cheques began arriving for Evelyn, each with a note urging her to consult the best doctors, to rest, to take a holiday in the sun. She'd always loved Italy, and Italy became part of the plan. The three of us would meet in London every few weeks and fly together to Pisa. Once in our rented villa outside Florence, I became Mrs. Callender and Evelyn became me.
But how could she? How could she bear to watch you with her husband, knowing you were going to have his child?
Because she loved Ronald and couldn't bear to lose him. Besides, she was going to have care of the child afterwards, be its mother. She convinced herself that what we were doing was best for the baby. Of course, we arranged matters so that I gave birth while we were in Italy. Then the three of us came home with the baby and a birth certificate in the right name.
And 9 months later, Mrs. Callender was dead.
He didn't kill her, if that's what you're thinking. But she should have had a specialist. Or certainly a better doctor than that incompetent fool Gladwin. The trouble was all three of us were desperately afraid that an efficient doctor would know she hadn't borne a child. She was as worried as we were. So she died and was cremated, and we thought we were safe forever.
She left Mark a note before she died. Just a hieroglyphic in her prayer book. But it was her blood group.
Yes, we knew the blood groups were a danger. Ronald had taken blood from the three of us and made the necessary tests, but after she was dead, even that worry ended. You know, the irony is that Ronald never loved the boy. He simply couldn't. And I wasn't allowed to love him either. Poor Mark. I watched him grow up, starved of affection. He must have thought I was mad, this strange, discontented woman whom his father couldn't do without, but wouldn't marry. Look, I've written out a brief confession. There's nothing in it about Mark, just that I shot Ronald Callender immediately after you'd left Garforth House. Put it somewhere safe. One day you may need it.
Nonsense.
Ronald has powerful friends. They may ask questions. Have a quiet word in the right ear. That's how they work.
The case is closed. The inquest has given its verdict. Your lover shot himself. That's all either of us need to remember, now or ever. Prize Detective Agency.
Miss Cordelia Gray?
Yes?
This is New Scotland Yard. Could you please make it convenient to call here sometime later today? Chief Superintendent Dalgleish would like to see you.
Well, let's see how far we've got. From what you saw in the cottage, you suspected Mark Callender might have been murdered, and you told Detective Sergeant Maskell as much when you visited Cambridge Police Station. Then you traced Mrs. Callender's old nurse and learned about her marriage and the boy's early life. After that, you went to see Dr. Gladwin, the GP who looked after Mrs. Callender before she died. By a simple ruse, you found out Ronald Callender's blood group. The only point in doing that would be if you suspected Mark wasn't the child of his parents' marriage. You then did what I would have done in your place, visited Somerset House to examine Mr. George Botley's will. That was sensible. The one thing you didn't tell me about was your fall down the well. I got that from Miss Markland.
It was an accident.
I don't think so, Miss Gray. You couldn't have pulled the well cover free without a rope, and Miss Markland is positive she tripped over the rope, coiled neatly and half hidden in the undergrowth.
I don't recall any details. The first thing I remember is hitting the water. In any case, I can't see what this has to do with Sir Ronald Callender's death.
It might have a great deal to do with it. If someone tried to kill you, and I think they did, it was because you and your investigation had become a danger. You were getting too close. Someone replaced that well lid, Miss Gray. You didn't fall through solid wood.
No.
Miss Markland told me that after she rescued you, you insisted she went away. You told her you weren't afraid to be alone in the cottage because you had a gun.
I wanted to get rid of her. She told me some dreadful story about her illegitimate child falling down the well to his death. I didn't want to hear it. I couldn't bear to just then. I told a lie about the gun just to make her go.
I think you wanted her to go because you knew your assailant would return, would have to drag the well cover clear. And what's more, Miss Gray, I don't think you would have waited alone in that cottage for your murderer without your gun.
I'd left the gun with Sir Ronald that first day.
I think Chris Lunn paid you a visit on the night he died. I can find no other reason for him being on that road. One of the witnesses to the accident said he came out of that side turning as if all the devils in hell were after him. Someone was after him, Miss Gray. You.
I was on my way to Sir Ronald.
At that hour? And in such a hurry?
I wanted to see him urgently. I decided to drop the case. I wanted to tell him at once and get it over and done with.
I wonder. Have you thought of consulting a solicitor, Miss Gray?
Why should I need a solicitor when I'm telling the truth?
It's when people start telling the truth that they most often feel the need of one.
Superintendent Dalgleish, I have always told the truth. Why should I lie?
Well, it could be to protect yourself, which I don't think likely, or to protect someone else. The motive for that could be love, fear, or a sense of justice. I don't think you've known anyone in this case long enough to care for them deeply, so that rules out love.
And I don't think you'd be very easy to frighten. So we're left with justice. A very dangerous concept, Miss Gray. Well, thank you, Sergeant. This concerns someone you know, Miss Gray. Elizabeth Leeming is dead. She was killed 2 days ago. The car she was driving went off the coast road south of Amalfi. This note is confirmation of identity.
May I go home now?
Yes. I don't think there's much point in your staying now, do you?
She didn't kill Sir Ronald. He took the gun from me. He took the gun...
That's what you've been telling me. I don't think you need trouble to say it again.
Do I have to come back?
Not unless you decide there's something you want to tell me. In that well-known phrase, you were asked to help the police. You have helped the police. Thank you. Come on, Miss Gray. Can you use my handkerchief?
And after you'd sacked him, you never asked how he got on. Not once. You didn't even come to the funeral.
I'm sorry. It's rather worse than that, I'm afraid. I know now your partner was the Bernie Pride who once worked with me. But the truth is, I'd forgotten all about him.
You sacked him. All he ever wanted was to be a detective, and you wouldn't give him a chance.
Well, actually, the Metropolitan Police hiring and firing regulations aren't quite as simple as that. It's true he might still have been a policeman if it hadn't been for me, but he wouldn't have been a detective.
He wasn't that bad.
Well, he was, you know. Or at least I thought so then. But I'm beginning to wonder if I didn't underrate him.
Mr. Dalgleish, he'd have given his right arm to hear you say that.
If I understand you right, Adam, you suspect that Ronald Callender killed his son. Ronald Callender is dead. You suspect that Chris Lunn tried to murder Miss Gray. Lunn is dead. You suggest that Elizabeth Leeming killed Ronald Callender. Elizabeth Leeming is dead.
Yes, it's all conveniently tidy.
Then I suggest we leave it that way.
There's only one person alive who knows the truth, and she's proof against any interrogation we can use. I comfort myself with the thought that she's absolutely guiltless. I took to her, but I'm glad I shan't be dealing with her again. I dislike being made to feel I'm corrupting the young. And she's right, you know. I ought to have found out what happened to Bernie Pride.
That wasn't part of your duties?
Of course not. But it was a dereliction all the same. It's ironic, you know. But in the end, Bernie Pride's taken his revenge.
How do you mean?
Well, whatever mischief that child was up to in Cambridge, she was working under his influence. He might just as well have been with her.
I agree, but answer this. If she was so influenced by Bernie Pride, then who was the moving force in his life, Who did Bernie Pride take as his model?
So it's all my fault?
Probably. She's your acolyte, Adam. If you never discover what really happened in Garforth House that night, you've probably only yourself to blame. No wonder you took to the young lady.
Well, it's good to be able to feel occasionally that there are some cases better left unsolved.
In An Unsuitable Job for a Woman, by P.D. James, dramatised by Neville Teller, Judy Barker played Cordelia Gray, Anna Massey, Miss Leeming, Robert Lang, Sir Ronald, and Maxine Audley, Eleanor Markland. The coroner was played by James Green, Bernie Pride by Michael Turner, Mrs. Markland and Mrs. Gladwin, Elizabeth Kelly, Major Markland, Ian Lindsay, Hugo, Andrew Branch, Sophie, Joanna Myers, Davy, David Bannerman, Isabel, Edita Brichter, Sergeant Marshall, Nigel Carrington, Horse Hall, Brett Usher, Nanny Pilbeam, Barbara Atkinson, Mr. Botley and the Police Commissioner, Timothy Bateson, Miss Sparshot, Jenny Howe, and Adam Dalgleish by Timothy Compton. The play was directed by Matthew Walters.
Come, violent death, serve for Mandragora to make me sleep.
Go tell my brothers when I'm laid out. They then may feed in quiet.
Where's the waiting woman? Fetch her.
Oh, you are damned perpetually for this. My turn is next. Is not so ordered?
Yes, and I'm glad you are so well prepared for it.
You are deceived, sir. I am not prepared for it. I will not die.
Come, dispatch her.
I will not die. I must not.
Delays. Throttle her.
If you kill me now, I am damned. I am quick with child.
Why, then your credit's saved.
Is she dead?
She's what you'd have her.
Measured it carefully from the ground. Honestly, Miss Gray.
I know you did, Bevis. It's the pavement. It must be uneven, that's what it is. Oh, we should have bought a spirit level. My fault.
That nameplate, isn't it rather crooked?
Yes, it is, I know.
Tompkins? That blessed kitten's off again. Excuse me, Miss Gray, I'd better catch him. Why not get the job done properly? Here's the chap to go to. Give him a ring. Say I sent you. That's me on the front.
Oh, you're very kind. Sir George Ralston, Bart, DSO, MC. Tell me, are you a connoisseur of nameplates or just a public benefactor?
Actually, I'm a client. If that is your Cordelia Gray. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Then why do you call yourself Pride Detective Agency?
Because, Sir George, we were set up by an ex-metropolitan policeman called Bernie Pride.
I see.
I worked for him for a time, and then he made me his partner. When he died, he left me the agency.
In that case, shall we go in? After you.
You'll have some tea, Sir George?
Please. Milk, no sugar. No biscuits.
Tea for two, please, Miss Maudsley.
Of course, Miss Gray, at once.
Don't people ever tell you that...
That it's an unsuitable job for a woman. They do, and it isn't.
I was going to say, don't they ever tell you your office is extremely difficult to find?
Oh. Well, that's the idea of the nameplate.
I'm not sure that a crooked nameplate isn't worse than no nameplate at all, especially in your business. Your founder, how did he die?
He cut his wrists.
Oh. Did he?
Here we are. Tea.
Thank you very much, Miss Maudsley. Just there.
There we are.
By the way, is Bevis back?
Oh, yes, Miss Gray. He caught Tompkins.
Oh, thank you.
Tompkins, Sir George, represents a sort of investment. He turned up and attached himself to Bevis, but we're banking on restoring him to his distraught owner, once we've discovered who he belongs to. We've built up a reputation for reuniting lost pets with their owners.
I know, that's how I came to hear of you. My wife was having tea with a Mrs. Fortescue last week when you returned the Fortescue cat. You'd found the brute within 30 minutes. You could have charged 3 times what you did. I gather she's devoted to the animal.
Expensive we may be, but we are honest.
Well, my wife was terribly impressed.
What with, our efficiency or our charges?
Both. That's why I'm here.
Yes, Sir George.
The job I'm offering is part bodyguard, part private secretary, part investigator, and part, well, nursemaid. No knowing how it may turn out.
I'm supposed to be a private investigator.
No doubt, but it doesn't pay to be too purist these days. In any case, you could find yourself involved in detection, though it doesn't seem likely.
Perhaps you could explain what exactly you want me to do?
My wife is the actress Clarissa Lyle.
I thought I recognized her at Mrs. Fortescue.
She hasn't worked much recently.
Ah.
We married in June 78. I'm her third husband, by the way. In July 1980, she was playing Lady Macbeth at the Haymarket. On the third night, she received what she saw as a death threat. These threats have continued intermittently ever since.
And what form exactly do these threats take?
Typewritten notes, each one headed by a small drawing of a coffin or a skull. All of them are quotations from plays my wife has appeared in, and they all deal with death in one form or another. The fear of death, the judgment of death, the inevitability of death.
But they don't specifically threaten her.
Well, she sees this harping on death as threatening. She's sensitive. Actresses have to be, I suppose. They need to be liked.
These notes, do you have them?
Here. The ones she kept, anyway. The first ones were thrown away.
Aye, but to die, and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction, and to rot. Measure for measure, isn't it? Not exactly a personal threat, though.
Perhaps not, but not very friendly.
You know not how to live, nor how to die, but I have an object that shall startle you and make you know whither you are going. I don't know that one. Webster, do you think?
Possibly.
How do they arrive?
By post, most of them. A few were delivered by hand, at the theatre or our London flat. The first half-dozen or so were destroyed. These 23 are all we have now.
The first one of all, the one that came when your wife was playing Lady Macbeth. What happened?
She can't remember now what it said. She threw it away, thought it was an isolated bit of malice. Then a second came, and a third and a fourth. My wife started breaking down on stage, had to be prompted.
Oh.
On the Saturday of the third week, her understudy had to go on. It was quite a struggle to get through the 6-week season. And then the same thing happened in her next role. The first quotation appeared on the morning the play opened. It came off after 4 weeks. And my wife's performance may have had something to do with it. She thought so, anyway.
And then?
And then Clarissa didn't act again until she accepted a part in Webster's The White Devil at Nottingham. Victoria something or other.
Vittoria Corombona.
Was that it? I was in New York at the time and didn't see it. But the same thing happened. The first note arrived the day the play opened. This time my wife went to the police. Not much joy. They took it away, thought about it, and brought it back. Sympathetic, but made it obvious they didn't take the death threat seriously. They did discover one thing, though. That particular note had been typed on my own machine.
Which is that note?
Here. We've dated them on the back. This is the time I was in New York.
On pain of death, let no man name death to me. It is a word infinitely terrible. This skull and crossbones, Sir George, not quite the same assured touch as the others, has it? And the typing's a bit amateurish. What do you think?
You may be right. Could have been done in a hurry.
You still haven't explained how you think I can help.
I'm coming to that. This weekend, my wife is to play the lead in a production of The Duchess of Malfi.
Ah.
It's taking place on Courcy Island. Do you know it? About 2 miles off the Dorset coast. The owner's Ambrose Gorringe. It's been in his family since the last century. His grandfather restored the medieval castle in the 1880s. He used to play host to the Prince of Wales in his circle. Edward would arrive with his mistress, Lily Langtry, and they all amused themselves with amateur theatricals. There's a lovely little Victorian theatre there. The present Gorringe seems intent on restoring castle and theatre to their former glory.
And you want me to go to the island and be with Lady Ralston?
I was hoping to be there myself, but that won't be possible. I have a meeting in the West Country which I can't miss. But she needs someone with her. This performance is important to her. They're doing the play at Chichester in the spring, and if she can regain her confidence, she might feel able to join the company.
Ah, I see.
But there's more to it than that. She's got hold of an idea that the threats may come to a head this weekend.
Oh.
In fact, that someone might try to kill her on Courcy Island.
What makes her think that?
Nothing she can explain, but it's what she feels. She asked me to get you.
And what precisely am I being employed to do, Sir George?
Protect her from nuisance, take any calls, open any letters, be on call at night, and bring a fresh mind to bear on these messages. Find out, if you can, who's responsible. You'll take the job?
Yes, I'll take it.
A little different from finding lost cats. Your rates will be rather higher, I assume.
The daily rate is precisely the same, Sir George, whatever the job. The final bill depends on the time taken, and any expenses, of course. But as I'll be a guest on the island, they shouldn't be too high. And by the way, I'll need to know who else will be there.
Well, by the Saturday afternoon, when the cast and the audience have all arrived, there'll be about 100. But the house party itself is quite small. My wife, of course with Tolly, Miss Tolgarth, that is, her dresser. Then is your host, Ambrose Gorringe.
Tell me about Mr. Gorringe.
There's not much to tell. He's known my wife since they were both children. Their fathers were in the diplomatic together. Middle-aged, unmarried. Read history at Cambridge, I believe. Authority on Victoriana. Spends a good deal of time and money building up his collection.
I'll take these, and probably the marble as well.
Ah.
Where did you find it?
A private sale, Mr. Gorringe. According to the owners, it's a duplicate of one of those marble limbs of the royal children at Osborne, the ones commissioned by Queen Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
They told me this was the arm of the Princess Royal when a baby. I haven't been able to get down to the Isle of Wight to check.
Oh, poor little Vicky. What a life she was to have. What with her mother, her son, and Bismarck. It's almost irresistible. But not at that price, Mr. Gaskin, not at that price.
Oh, it's probably unique. I don't know of any other duplicates of the Osborne marbles.
You know, this arm must weigh almost as much as the princess herself. It's a pity we don't know for certain.
I tell you what, Mr. Gorringe, I'll let you have it less 15%. That's cutting my profit to shreds.
You don't like it.
Well, I can't say I'm sorry to see it go. A child's arm and cut off like that. Whenever I look at it, I keep imagining it's oozing blood.
All right, I'll have it.
Ah.
I must try it on my house guests next weekend and watch their reactions. We're putting on the Duchess of Malfi, you know.
Oh, really? Will theatrical productions become a regular event?
No, I think not. Upsets the household. I've already had to reassure my butler that this is a unique event. Now, if this were a full-size male hand, we could use it for one of the props. The play features an amputated hand.
Oh.
As it is, I'll just have to put it on display somewhere in the house. And I think I have the ideal spot.
He inherited the island from an uncle in 77. He was spending a year outside the UK at the time, something to do with tax avoidance, I believe. Came back to England in 78 and has spent the last few years restoring the castle.
Who else lives on the island?
Well, he has 3 servants. The butler is called Munter. Mrs. Munter acts as housekeeper. And then there's Oldfield, the boatman and general factotum.
And this house party, who has he invited besides Lady Ralston?
Well, there's Ivo Whittingham.
The theatre critic?
You know him?
Not to speak to. I know of him, of course.
He's supposed to be doing a piece about the theatre and the performance for one of the colour supplements. Quite an honour for Gorringe, really. Whittingham doesn't do much writing these days. Rather ill, I gather.
You can get dressed now. Is that spleen troubling you?
Yes, since I look and feel like a lopsided pregnant woman, yes, you could say it's troubling me.
Oh, time may come when it's better out. No hurry, though. We'll have another think in a month.
I thought you said the spleen's enlarged because it's taken over producing the red blood cells, which my blood's no longer making.
That's more or less what's happening, yes. When one organ ceases to function, another tends to take over.
Yes, would it be tactless of me to inquire, Sir James, which organ will oblige when you've whipped out the spleen?
Well, let's cross that bridge when we come to it, eh, what?
On pain of death, let no man name death to me. It is a word infinitely terrible.
I'm sorry, Mr. Whittingham, I didn't quite...
Yeah, nothing, Sir James. I was merely quoting Webster.
Actually, Whittingham's an old friend of my wife. She'll be pleased to have him around.
Who else is coming?
There's Roma Lyle, my wife's cousin. Used to be a schoolmistress, but now keeps a bookshop somewhere in North London. Unmarried, about 45. I don't know very well. We've only met once or twice. She might bring her partner, but if so, I can't tell you who it is.
My God, Roma, this place stinks.
It won't once we get it cleaned up.
Clean it as much as you like, and it'll still look what it is. A basement slum. Oh, God, look at these books. I mean, 9/10 junk. They should be burnt.
Colin? Oh, look at this. It fell out of one of the books. What is it?
Some kind of old woodcut. Shouldn't think it's worth anything.
We could ask Ambrose Gorringe when we get to the island. He knows about these things.
I like the skeleton at the top. I suppose the arrow and the hourglass must mean something.
The great messenger of mortality. It's a good caption.
Fair lady, Lay your costly robe aside. No longer may you glory in your pride. Take leave of all your carnal vain delight. I've come to summon you away tonight. Spooky.
It puts me in mind of Clarissa.
Clarissa? Why?
I don't know. I don't know why. Give it to me. I'll ask Ambrose Gorringe about it.
It was a mistake buying this junk. We should have stuck to the new stuff. And God knows why I let you talk me into buying all that left-wing garbage upstairs. No one wants it. There are enough cosy left-wing haunts already in this neighbourhood, and it's putting off the other customers. I must have been mad.
Look, Colin, you didn't take on this place simply to please me. You loathed teaching just as much as I did. And I wouldn't have resigned if you hadn't made the first move.
You mean it's all my fault?
All? What all?
It was a mistake.
Well, you chuck it. Stella will be delighted. My God, she must be praying for us to go broke. It's a wonder she doesn't lurk outside counting the customers.
That's not quite fair. She's my wife. She's a right to be worried. I mean, half the money I put in here was hers.
And that, my dear Colin, was the cleverest move she ever made. She made sure that you had enough money to make the business possible, but not enough to make it a success. I'll bet Daddy was behind that. She wants you back, Colin. Can't you see that? Back, neatly trussed like a sacrificial victim to be handed over to dear Daddy and the family business. Oh, she's shrewd, is Stella. A sharp little mind to go with those sharp red nails.
Oh, do shut up, Roma. We've been through all this 20 times.
Oh, darling, I'm sorry. Don't let's quarrel. We're tired, we're hot, and it's a bloody day. On Friday, we shut the door and take off for Corsi Island. 3 days of peace, sunshine, good wines, first-class food, and the sea. No creditors, no people, just peace. And my God, don't I need it.
Roma, I'm sorry,
Oh, no, no. Oh, you can't do this to me. You promised. And I told Clarissa I'm bringing my partner. It's all arranged.
I am sorry. Look, honest. But Stella's father phoned this morning to say he's coming for the weekend. Look, I've got to be there. I've told you what he's like. I'll never hear the end of it if I'm away on a long weekend, leaving her to cope with the kids.
Daddy. In other words, the twin school fees, the car, and the package holiday.
No, don't knock it.
Oh, what's Clarissa going to think?
Well, what would she think if I did come? She knows I'm married. Wouldn't it look rather odd, the two of us arriving together?
Clarissa isn't exactly a model of purity. And I don't suppose Ambrose Gorringe creeps down his corridor at night checking on where his guests are sleeping. The point is, I was planning to speak to Clarissa this weekend. Tell her about the shop. Ask her if she could help. That's why I wangled the invitation. After all, 1/3 of her money comes to me if she dies without a child. It's all in Uncle's will. It wouldn't harm her to part with some when it's most needed. We'd only be asking for a loan.
I couldn't ask a woman for money.
You wouldn't have to. I'd do the asking. I hoped she'd meet you, like you. Then I could speak to her. Even 30,000 would make all the difference.
How much would you get if she died, then?
I'm not sure. About 200,000, I think. It could be more.
To be quite honest, I'm not sure why Roma Lyle was invited, unless it was a gesture on Gorringe's part to please my wife.
And those are all the guests?
As far as I know. Except for Simon, of course.
Simon?
Oh, sorry, it's Simon Lessing. He's 17, the son of Clarissa's second husband.
Tell me about him.
Well, his father was drowned in August 1977. After that, he wasn't happy living with his relatives, so Clarissa took him on. We've sort of adopted him. I'm not sure why he's invited either, come to that. Music's his interest. Clarissa probably thought it was time he met more people. He's rather a shy boy.
One last question, Sir George. Lady Ralston is apparently so frightened for her life that she's reluctant to be on Courcy Island without protection. Is there anyone of that company she has reason to fear, to suspect?
You can put that idea out of your head, Miss Gray. She has no reason to suspect any of the house party of wishing to harm her. No reason in the world.
Right. I had to ask. Now, when do you want me to arrive?
Your tickets are in this envelope.
Oh, thank you.
My wife has telephoned Gorringe to tell him she's bringing a secretary companion. You go down to Spainmouth Jetty. The launch from Courcy will be waiting to pick you up.
Fine.
You'll go over with the other guests.
It's quite typical of Ambrose Gorringe just to send Oldfield in the launch and leave his guests to introduce themselves. I'm Roma Lyle, Clarissa's cousin.
How do you do? My name's Cordelia Gray, but I'm not a guest. I'm going to the island to work.
Good Lord, Ambrose isn't writing another blockbuster, is he?
Not as far as I know. I'm employed by Lady Ralston.
By Clarissa? Doing what, for heaven's sake?
Oh, dealing with her correspondence, making phone calls, generally easing things along while she concentrates on the play.
She's got Polly to ease things along. Well, what does she think of it? Tolly, I mean.
I haven't the least idea. I haven't met her yet.
Well, I can't see her liking it. You'd best meet Clarissa's stepson, Simon Lessing. He's probably nearer your age than anyone else on this benighted weekend. Simon, over here. Come and say hello to Cordelia Gray. She's Clarissa's secretary.
Clarissa said you'd be coming when she wrote.
How do you do?
I had to get special leave.
From school?
Yes, Melhurst. My housemaster wasn't too pleased. I don't really know why I've been invited.
Does there have to be a reason? A few days break, a little swimming?
With Clarissa, there's usually a reason. Of course, she told me to bring some music.
You're a pianist?
I play the piano.
He's very good. Clarissa likes showing him off, doesn't she, Simon?
Does she? Oh, I just hope I don't make a fool of myself.
Discussing the perennially fascinating topic, Clarissa.
Hello, Ivo. I was just saying she rather enjoys presenting Simon to her friends.
Ever been to Courcy Island before, Simon?
No.
No, then she's out to impress Ambrose Gorringe. Don't let her down. Do I know you?
No, I'm Cordelia Gray.
Are you taking part in the play?
I'm here to work. I'm Miss Lyle's secretary, her temporary secretary.
Now that makes sense. Clarissa's relationships tend to be temporary.
Do you know anything about the performance? Who's taking part?
Oh, didn't Clarissa explain? They're the Cottringham Players, said to be the oldest amateur company in England. They're based in Spainmouth, very convenient. They'll all be coming over by launch tomorrow. Look, we turn the headland in a second. You'll see the castle.
Oh, my goodness. That's beautiful. It's just as though the castle was rising from the waves.
Impressive, isn't it? All that rose-red brickwork soaring to the sky.
Oh, but it's so light and graceful. Not what I associate with Victorian architecture at all.
You're interested in Victorian architecture?
Well, interested, but not at all knowledgeable.
I shouldn't tell Ambrose that. He'll devote the whole weekend to your education.
Is that him, waiting for us at the jetty?
That's him on the left. And there's Clarissa.
Darling! Darling Ivo!
Hello, Clarissa! I'm afraid I'd have to ask for your help, Miss Gray, in getting ashore. I seem to be as weak as a kitten these
Of course,
days.
Mr. Whitney.
Hello there. Welcome to Courcy Island.
Hello, Ambrose.
I'll get ashore first. This is my hand.
Thanks.
All right?
Thank you. Oh, Clarissa, my darling.
Well.
Enchanting as ever.
My poor Ivo, what's life doing to you?
Taking its toll, darling, but you seem to have negotiated rather special terms. How do you do it?
Flatterer. Roma, my dear. Oh, it's been ages.
Too long, Clarissa.
Weren't you bringing someone with you, your partner?
Something unavoidable cropped up, I'm afraid. I'll save him for another time.
Do, darling. Come on, Simon. Don't lurk back there. Come and be introduced to Mr. Gorringe. Ambrose, darling, this is Simon.
Welcome to Courcy. I've heard a great deal about you.
Hello.
I'm looking forward to hearing you play.
Oh.
Come on, Simon. I'll show you your room.
And you must be Miss Gray. Welcome to Courcy Island.
How do you do?
Mrs. Munter will look after you. We've put you in a room next door to Lady Ralston. Mrs. Munter, this is Miss Gray.
Hello, I'm Lady Ralston's new secretary. If there's any post for her, it must come to me first, and I'll take any telephone calls for her.
Well, Opal's just brought a package of post across from the launch, miss. Would you like to look through it?
Oh, if you don't mind, thank you. Just these two. I'll take them.
Of course, miss. If you'll come with me, miss, I'll show you to your room.
Oh, what a magnificent hall. The staircase, the gallery. Oh, that tapestry.
A genuine William Morris, miss.
You must feel quite privileged living here.
It takes some getting used to. The cleaning's no joke.
Oh, but to live surrounded by all these beautiful things. Oh, the stained glass is quite breathtaking.
The eastern window was commissioned by the original Mr. Herbert Gorringe in the 1860s. It portrays the travels of Ulysses.
So I see. Do you often show visitors around, Mrs. Munter?
I do act as a guide from time to time. Please follow me. And this is your room, miss.
Oh, but this is delightful.
The tiles are originals by William de Morgan. Oh. The mahogany and pine cabinet was painted by William Morris, and the paintings are by John Ruskin. What time would you like your early morning tea, miss?
7:30, please.
Thank you, miss.
Is that you, Miss Gray? Oh, here you are. Our rooms connect, as you'll see. Come in here, will you? Tolly will see to your unpacking.
Oh, thank you, but I'd rather do my own.
As you wish. This is my dresser, Miss Tolgarth, Tolly. Meet Miss Cordelia Gray.
Hello.
She's come to help with my correspondence. Just an experiment. She won't be in anyone's way. If she wants anything, look after her, will you?
Of course.
I suppose we'd better talk. But it can't be now. That extraordinary-looking man, Munter, set lunch in the dining room, but I told him we shall eat on the terrace. That means there's time before lunch for Ambrose to give us all a quick tour of the castle.
Shall I fetch Simon?
Oh, there's no point him trailing round after us. He can go for a swim.
And this is my chamber of horrors. Meet my notorious Victorian murderers and murderesses, all modelled in Staffordshire pottery.
Do they tie up with this display of gallows literature?
Yes, indeed, in some cases. This pair, for example, are the infamous Maria and Frederick Manning, hanged in November 1847 before a crowd of 50,000. Charles Dickens saw the execution and wrote that the crowd's behaviour was so indescribable that he thought he was living in a city of devils.
And this elegant gentleman?
William Corder, aiming his pistol at poor Maria Martin. Note the red barn in the distance.
Yes,
of course. He might have got away with it if her mother hadn't repeatedly dreamed that her daughter's body was buried in the red barn.
The most gruesome part of the whole collection's over here. Nasty little mementos of murder.
But quite fascinating, Clarissa, darling, you must admit. Don't you agree, Miss Gray?
Quite extraordinary.
Yes. That tag end of rope, for instance. Now, that's part of the rope that hanged Dr. Thomas Neil Cream. You know, the Lambeth poisoner, in November 1892. The stained linen nightdress was worn by Constance Kent. Oh, not the one she had on when she slit the throat of her small stepbrother, unfortunately. But, well, it has a certain interest, all the same. That pair of handcuffs with the key were used on young Courvoisier, who murdered his master, Lord William Russell, in 1840.
And the marble of the baby's arm?
Ah. No criminal interest, as far as I know, but it doesn't look out of place, somehow. The man who sold it to me would approve. He kept imagining that the limb was oozing blood.
But it's perfectly hateful. It's disgusting.
It may be the only extant copy of one of the limbs of the royal children made for Queen Victoria. And if you dislike this, Clarissa, you should see the Osborne collection. They look as if the Prince Consort had descended on the royal nursery with a machete.
It's repulsive. What on earth possessed you, Ambrose? Get rid of it.
Hello. I didn't expect to see you, Tolly. What on earth are you doing here? Is anything the matter?
Here's your towel.
Oh, thanks. It's not all that warm. Why did you come down?
Why don't you leave?
Leave?
Why don't you leave this place? Leave her.
Leave Clarissa? Well, why should I? What do you mean?
Well, she doesn't want you. Haven't you noticed that? You aren't happy. Why go on pretending?
But I am happy. Where could I go? My aunt wouldn't want me back. I haven't any money.
There's a spare room in my flat. It's only small. It used to be my daughter's before she died. You could have that for a start. It isn't much, but you could stay there until you found something better.
But how could I find somewhere? What would I live on?
You're 17, aren't you? You're not a child. You could find something to do.
But what? I'm going to be a pianist. I need Clarissa's money.
Ah, yes. You need Clarissa's money.
In any case, I'm perfectly happy as I am.
Suppose she gets tired of you. Like she did of your father.
What do you mean? She loved my father. They loved each other. He explained to me before he left my mother. Clarissa was the most marvellous thing that had ever happened to him. He had no choice.
There's always a choice.
But they adored each other. He was so happy.
Then why did he drown himself?
It's not true. I don't believe you.
Don't, if you don't want to. But just remember what I've said when your turn comes.
Why should he do it? Why?
To make her feel sorry, I suppose. Isn't that usually why people kill themselves? But he should have known. Clarissa doesn't understand about guilt.
There was an inquest. They found it was accidental death. And he didn't leave a note.
If he did, no one saw it. But then it was Clarissa who found his clothes on the beach, wasn't it?
Yes.
Suppose she died. What would you do then?
Why on earth should Clarissa die? She isn't ill, is she? Well, she never said anything about being ill. What's wrong with her?
Nothing's wrong with her.
Well, then why talk about dying?
Because she thinks she's going to die. And you know, sometimes when people think that strongly enough, they do die. Bring me the casket hither and the glass. You get no lodging here tonight, my lord.
Indeed, I must persuade one.
Very good. I hope in time 'twill grow into a custom that noblemen shall come with cap and knee to purchase a night's lodging of their wives.
I must lie here.
Must. You are a lord of misrule.
Indeed, my rule is only in the night.
To what use will you put me?
We'll sleep together.
Alas, what pleasure can two lovers find in sleep?
My lord, I lie with her often, and I know she'll much disquiet you.
See, you are complained of.
For she's the sprawling... The sprawling is... Oh, I'm sorry. I am sorry, Mr. DeVille.
For heaven's sake, Cariola, you've only got 3 lines to remember.
Oh.
Do cut out the coyness. You're not playing no-no Nanette.
I'm frightfully sorry, Mr. DeVille.
All right. Take it from the top.
Oh, must we? Every time we go back, I lose the impetus.
From the beginning.
This bloody box is driving me mad. If we have to have background music in this scene, and God alone knows why, then surely Ambrose can find something more suitable than those damn Scottish tunes.
It was your idea, darling, as I remember. Brilliant touch, too, since we're in Victorian costume.
It was a musical box I wanted, not a medley of Scottish airs. And do we have to have a bloody audience? Cordelia, can't you find something useful to do? God knows we're paying you enough. Do you propose to sit on your ass all afternoon?
Miss Gray and I will take a walk. The performance hasn't been exactly riveting so far, and the air outside will be fresher. Come along, Miss Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Whittingham.
No, don't mention it. This may be a stupid question. Gray isn't an uncommon name, but you're not by any chance related to Redvers Gray?
He was my father.
I thought there was something. It's the eyes. You know, he had a great influence on my generation at Cambridge.
Yeah.
He had the gift of making rhetoric sound sincere. And now that the rhetoric and the dream are out of fashion, I suppose he's forgotten. But I should like to have known him.
So should I.
Oh, like that, was it? The old story. Revolutionary idealist dedicated to mankind in the abstract, but not much good at caring for his own kid. Not that I can criticize. I haven't done too well with mine.
I think I should have liked him if we'd had time. I did spend 6 months with him and the comrades in Germany and Italy. And then he died.
You make death sound like a betrayal. What about your mother?
She died when I was born.
Another betrayal. So, who looked after you?
Foster parents most of the time. Then when I was 11, I won a scholarship to a convent. That was a mistake. A school, not the scholarship. They mixed me up with another C. Gray, who was a Roman Catholic. I don't think Father liked it, but by the time he bothered to reply to the education officer's letter, I was settled and they didn't like moving me. I wanted to stay anyway.
Red was grey with a convent-educated daughter. And did they succeed in converting you? That would have taught Papa to answer his letters.
No, they didn't convert me. But then they didn't try it. Oh, look out, Mr. Whittingham. Oh, you're tired. Here, let's sit down for a while. Over there. No, I liked it in the convent. I suppose it was the first time I felt secure. Life wasn't messy anymore.
Yes, it must have been reassuring. Even one's sins neatly classified. Right. These venial, those mortal. Mortal sin. It has a note of splendid finality, hasn't it? It almost dignifies wrongdoing. I suppose a mortal sin has to be something really special.
It's a grievous offence against the laws of God which puts the soul at risk of eternal damnation.
In other words, something really evil. If, that is, you believe in the existence of evil.
Oh, yes. I believe in the existence of evil.
In that case, there's something you should know. Clarissa once did something you might dignify as evil. And I've a feeling that for Clarissa it could prove mortal.
Are you sure you want to tell me this?
Quite sure. I think it may help you in what you're here to do, whatever that may be.
Very well.
It happened during the run of Macbeth in July 1980. Tolly, Miss Tolgarth, had an illegitimate daughter 4 years earlier. Well, there was no particular secret about it. Most of us knew about Vicky. A really sweet child. Tolly brought her to the theatre occasionally, but usually the girl was at home with a childminder. That's how it was when the tragedy happened.
The tragedy?
It was 2 days before the opening. Clarissa was at the theatre and the minder was in charge of Vicky. The child had slipped out into the street and was playing in the gutter behind a parked lorry. The driver didn't see her and reversed.
Oh.
She was horribly injured. They rushed her to hospital and operated, and she stood there very well. We all thought she'd make it. But during the opening night of Macbeth, the hospital telephoned to say there'd been a relapse and to ask Tolly to go at once. Tolly always answered the phone in the dressing room, but by pure chance, Clarissa took the call. She'd just come off for her Act 3 costume change. The banquet scene, you know.
Yes.
She put down the receiver and told Tolly that the hospital wanted her to visit, but that there was no hurry. After the performance would be all right. Tolly wanted to ring back, but Clarissa wouldn't let her. Shortly after the curtain came down, the hospital rang to say the child was dead.
My God. Well, how do you know all this?
I was there, in Clarissa's dressing room, when the first call came. You could say I had a rather privileged relationship at the time. When the play ended, I went backstage to take Clarissa out to supper. Tolly was still there then. It was a few minutes after we left that the hospital rang.
Oh.
We were all appalled when we heard the news. I took the trouble to get in touch with the hospital and ask about that first message.
And when you learned what had happened, was that when you stopped being a privileged person?
I should like to say it was. And the truth is, Clarissa dropped me when she discovered that her sexual favours were not an automatic guarantee of my literary ones. Like most men, I'm capable of betrayal, but not that particular sort. She found she couldn't buy favourable notices from me on tick.
Who was the child's father?
No one knows. Except Tolly, presumably, and she isn't saying. The question is, who did Clarissa think he was?
Not her own husband, surely?
At that time it was Lessing, Simon's father. Poor besotted fool. He and Clarissa had only been married a year. No, my guess is our respected producer, Adrian DeVille.
Oh, you mean the man directing the Duchess of Malfi here?
The same.
Was Clarissa in love with him?
I don't know what Clarissa means by that word. She may have wanted him. He was around at the time.
Why is he here? He's famous. He doesn't have to bother with an amateur production.
Why are any of us here? It's possible he sees Courcy Island as a future dramatic line-born. Ambrose could make something of his Courcy festival if he's prepared to spend money. Not commercially, of course, but he could have some fun with it once he's got rid of Clarissa.
And does he want to get rid of Clarissa?
Oh, yes, hadn't you noticed? She's trying to take him over, him, his theatre, and his island. He likes his private kingdom. Clarissa is a particularly persistent invader.
I don't see how Clarissa can live with the memory of that child's death.
I'm not sure she can. When a person is terrified of dying, it could be because with one part of their minds they feel they deserve it.
How do you know she's terrified?
Because there are some emotions which even an actress as experienced as Clarissa can't hide. Look, there are explanations. It was the first night. She was totally immersed in the part. She was Lady Macbeth at Dunsinane Castle. She was all keyed up for the banquet scene. I doubt whether she'd have left the theatre at that moment to go to her own dying child. It didn't occur to her that someone else might want to.
I don't see how Miss Tolgoth can go on working for her. I couldn't.
But you will. I confess, I'm intrigued about your precise function here, but presumably you won't throw in your hand.
That's different. I'm just a temporary employee, but Tolly believed her when she said the child wasn't in immediate danger. She was robbed of sharing her daughter's last moments on Earth. How can she stay with Clarissa?
They've been together almost all their lives. Tolly's mother was Clarissa's nurse. The instinct for worship is remarkably persistent. Though she slay me, yet shall I trust her. A perfectly well-documented phenomenon. But if, like any of us come to that, she ever face the truth about her own feelings, then I admit I do wonder what would happen.
Roma, darling. Yes. Surely we didn't frighten him away. I thought you wanted to show him off. Why else did you angle for an invitation? Who are you ashamed of, him or us?
We suddenly heard that an important American client would be calling at the shop this Saturday. Colin had to be there.
Ah, how conscientious of him. But I'm relieved to hear you have clients of any sort, let alone important American ones. Congratulations.
Enjoying yourself so far?
It's all right. Nothing terrible's happened, I suppose.
Done any swimming?
A little.
I haven't got round to it yet. What's the water like?
Quite cold, really.
Oh.
No, I take no interest in contemporary politics at all.
How wise.
But you can't opt out of all responsibility for what's happening in your own country.
Oh, but I can. I didn't collude in the depreciation of its currency, the spoliation of its countryside, the desecration of its towns, the destruction of its grammar schools, the mutilation of the liturgy of its church. Why should I feel personal responsibility for any of it?
I was thinking of aspects some of us see as more important. That our society is more violent, less compassionate, more unequal than it's been since the 19th century. And then there's the National Front. Well, you can't ignore the front.
Indeed I can. Together with militant tendency, the Trots and the rest of the rabble. Oh, you'll be surprised at my capacity for ignoring the ignorable.
But you can't just decide to live in another age.
Why not? And I very nearly succeed.
I'm grateful you don't reject modern amenities entirely. I mean, if I should enter into the final process of dying during the next few days and need a little medical help to ease the way, I take it you won't object to using the telephone.
If any of you decides to die in the next few days, all necessary measures will be taken to ease you on your way.
And what happens to this Eden of yours when Adam, solaced with no Eve, finally returns to the dust?
It would be almost worth marrying and breeding to have a son to follow me here. But sons, even if the process of getting them, deceptively simple physiologically, wasn't so fraught with practical and emotional complications, sons are notoriously unreliable. A son might convert the castle to a casino and lay down a 9-hole golf course.
Talking of children, what's the news of your two, Ivo? Is Matthew still living in that Kennington squat?
As we don't communicate, I'm not in a position to say. Angela, on the other hand, writes a filial letter at boring length every month. My ex-wife, in case you meant to inquire, is with him in Johannesburg, which she calls Joburg.
Darling, I wasn't asking for the family history.
Weren't you? I rather thought you were.
Oh.
That was worth hearing.
It was very well played.
Thank you.
He is good, isn't he?
Now, how about a song? Does anyone sing? There's a book of songs on the piano.
Oh, the Ash Grove, one of my favourites.
Please sing it for us, Miss Gray.
Oh, shall I?
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Please.
Will you accompany me, Simon?
Yes, of course.
Quite lovely.
I should have had more than enough of amateurs before the weekend's out. I'm going to bed. Simon, it's time you called it a day. I'll see you to your room. Cordelia, ring for Tolly, will you, and tell her I'm ready for her. Then come up in 15 minutes. I want to discuss arrangements for tomorrow. Ivo, you're drunk.
Black marks all round. We should have realised that we're here to applaud Clarissa's talent, not to demonstrate our own. If you plan a career as secretary companion, Cordelia, you'll have to learn more tact.
Are you drunk, Ivo?
I shall be sober enough for what I have to do tomorrow.
Oh, here you are. I've sent Tolly away so that we can talk. You just stand there. Get yourself a chair.
Oh, yes, of course.
You seem to have enjoyed yourself this evening. Perhaps I should remind you that you were hired as a detective, not an after-dinner entertainer.
Well, perhaps if you were honest with them and told them why I'm here, they'd be less likely to treat me as a fellow guest.
What good would that do? If you don't mix with them, how can you watch them? Besides, the men like you. I've seen Ivo and Simon looking at you. Don't pretend you don't know it. I hate that kind of sexual coyness.
I wasn't trying to pretend anything.
Pass me that deep cleanser, would you? Tell me, what do you think of Simon's playing?
I'm not really qualified to judge. Obviously, he has talent.
Oh, talent? That's common enough. One doesn't invest £9,000 or more in mere talent. Can he succeed? That's the question. I'll ask Ambrose after the play. I can't worry about anything till then.
I think we should discuss the messages and our plans for the weekend, especially tomorrow. We ought to have spoken earlier.
Well, there really hasn't been time. Anyway, you know what you're here for. If there are any more messages, I don't want to know about them. It's vital I get through tomorrow's performance. If I can only get my confidence back, I can face almost anything.
Even the knowledge of who's doing this to you?
Even that.
How many of the people here know about the messages?
Well, Tolly. I haven't any secrets from her. I expect Ivor knows nothing happens in the West End he doesn't get to hear about. And Ambrose. He was in my dressing room once when a note was pushed under the door. Simon doesn't, unless Tolly's told him, and I can't think why she should.
How about your cousin?
Roma? Oh, she doesn't know, and if she did, she wouldn't care.
Tell me about her.
There's not much to tell. And what there is boring. That towel, please, darling. We are first cousins. My father's younger brother ran off with a barmaid, made a mess of his life, and then he expected Daddy to help him out. And he did. Well, at least as far as Roma was concerned. She was always staying with us, especially after her own father died. Poor little orphan Annie, perpetually miserable and such a bore. She wasn't a bit grateful.
Should she have been?
Well, I think so. Daddy didn't have to take her in. She could hardly expect him to treat her the same as me, his own child.
Ah, yes, children. You know, you should have told me about Tolly's daughter. If I'm to help, I need to know anything that might be relevant.
But that isn't relevant. It was all a mistake. Tolly knows that. Everyone knows it. I suppose Ivor told you. Typical. Can't you see he's sick? He's dying. And he's eaten up with jealousy. He always has been. Jealousy and malice. He could have been a second Tynan, and look at him now, dying on his feet. He'd no right to come here looking as he does. It's like having a death's head at the table. It's indecent.
So, Miss Tolgarth couldn't have had anything to do with the notes?
Of course not. What an idea. She's devoted to me. If you can't see that, you're not much of a detective. Besides, she can't type. The messages are typed, in case you haven't noticed.
All of them? They've always been typed, even the ones that came when you were playing Lady Macbeth?
Yes, I suppose so. It was a long time ago. It wasn't my fault. I didn't kill the child. Anyway, the hospital had no right to phone like that. They knew it was a theatre, that we were in the middle of a performance. Besides, she couldn't have done anything even if I'd let her go. The child was unconscious. She wouldn't have known her. It's sentimental and morbid, this sitting by the bedside waiting for people to die. What good does it do? And I had 3 costume changes in the 3rd act. What are you looking like that for? I'm not paying you to judge me.
I'm not judging you. I wanted to help. But you have to be honest with me. What is it you're really afraid of?
Don't you know? Death. It isn't the fact of death. It's my death. There was never a time when I didn't see the skull beneath the skin. I knew the facts of death before I knew the facts of life. I mean, no one can say, don't worry, it may never happen. It will happen. To me. I can't describe the fear. How terrible it is. Wave after wave of panic sweeping over me. Sometimes I hold up my hand like this and think, here it is, part of me, warm, living. And one day it'll hang, white and cold and unfeeling and useless. And then it'll rot. And I shall rot. Now I've told you, and you can despise me.
I don't despise you.
Aren't you afraid of death?
It doesn't seem reasonable to be afraid of something that's inevitable and universal.
Words, just words. All they mean is that you're young and healthy and don't have to think about dying. To lie in cold obstruction and to rot. That was in one of the messages.
I know.
And there's another to add to the collection. I've been keeping it for you. It came by post to the London flat yesterday morning. You'll find it in the bottom of my jewel case. Over there. No, by the bedside table. On the left.
Oh, I have it. It's a beautiful casket.
Ambrose gave it to me this morning. A good luck present for the performance tomorrow. I took a fancy to it when I saw it 6 months ago, but it took time before he got the message. The letter's in a secret drawer. Not so very secret, actually. You better bring it over here.
Oh, it's surprisingly heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. You press this.
Oh, that's neat.
You see this notice? This is probably the most important notice I ever had. I was playing Hester in Rattigan's The Deep Blue Sea at the Spaymouth Playhouse just across the water. That was in 1977, Jubilee year. I wasn't staying here on the island because Ambrose was abroad for a year, something to do with tax. You have to be out of the country for 12 months or something. The theatre's closed now, alas. But they seem to like me. See, Clarissa Lyle triumphs in Rattigan revival. Well, only a small provincial paper, of course, but still.
What a nice headline. And is that the letter?
Ah, yes. Here you are.
A coffin this time. Who must dispatch me? I account this world a tedious theatre, for I must play a part in it against my will. Is that from the Duchess of Malfi?
That's right.
Not very appropriate. He must be reaching the end of suitable quotations.
Perhaps he knows he won't need many more. There's only tomorrow. Perhaps he knows that tomorrow will be the end.